give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh, Yahushua HaMashiach, our King, Master, and Savior. You can get John chapter 6 and verse 44. Hello? How you doing? John 6 and 44. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him. And I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, they shall all be taught of Elohim. Every man therefore that hath heard and hath learned of the Abba, come unto me. Not that any man hath seen the Abba, save he which is of Elohim, he hath seen the Abba. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that believe on me have everlasting life. Now, who on here remember what character means life? We just talked about it Wednesday. What I bring character means life, ladies and gentlemen? No. The noon. The noon. Remember that means sea fish, life continual eternal. What did we look at Wednesday that gave us an example of continual eternal? Because we know if it's the noon, it's talking about life continual eternal. And we know that Yahushua, son of Noon, which is Yah, delivers life continual or eternal. You know what I'm talking about? This is what Yahushua, son of Nun, that took over for Moses did. That's why we looked at that a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the law came by Moses, but favor and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach. You know what I'm talking about? You see that with Yahushua, son of Nun. You know what I'm talking about? This is the Yah delivers, Yah saves, life continual eternal. So what did we look at Wednesday that could show us something that was continual and eternal?
Sit in the chair. Sit.
No.
Don't nobody remember what we looked at Wednesday that could show us something that would be continual and eternal? Nobody. I'm talking about what did we look at specifically? We looked at something specifically that pertained to the character Noon. Who remembers specifically what we looked at? Go ahead.
The rivers of living water came out of the side.
The rivers of living water that came out his belly, right? And what did we look at that went along with that? Because it has to be a scripture. I showed y'all this. Adam and Eve, he showed you that. The reason why we know this here is what this is. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it now. Come on over here to Genesis chapter 2 real fast, man. He said out of your belly will flow rivers of living water, right? Now we're going to look at something real fast. Now, we already looked at that. What did we look at? Something that had water in it Wednesday. I need to see who remember that. What did we look at that had something to talk about water in it Wednesday?
A well.
That well, right? Remember he told him to come take that water out the well of salvation. Who did Mashiach come tell to take the water out the wells of salvation? Stanley, you're going to have to mute your phone because the people can hear all
Now sit back like I told you.
Who did Mashiach tell to come get some waters out the well of salvation? Who did he tell that to? Huh? Which one? Who know his name? Who know the name of the disciple that he told him to come get some waters out the well of salvation? I'm just trying to see who remembers. I mean, as minute as it is, you need to know it though. I can't hear you.
Timothy.
No, he ain't tell John to do it.
I'm thinking Timothy.
He ain't tell Timothy wasn't no disciple.
Oh, touche.
You know, it wasn't Peter either.
Thomas.
It was Thomas.
Yeah, see, that's what I meant to say.
That's who it was. Y'all gotta speak up. We talking like y'all rocks in your mouth. Nah,
That's what I meant to say.
I said the name is Thomas. He told Thomas to come stick in his hand and draw water out of the wells of salvation. Now, who of y'all know? Now you know in Hebrew, her name is not Eve. Who knows what her name is in Hebrew? It is cool. You know what I'm saying? Now, who knows what that name means? Life. Means life. We already know that because the book tells us that she's the mother of all living. Now remember, we already talked about this. Now I've got to make sure because I'm trying to refresh your memory. Who knows why the Ruach is called who remembers why the Ruach is called a man when Yahusha speak of him, but we know that soul, Ruach, and wisdom are feminine words, right? And the Ruach and the spirit is compared to the feminine word. That's why you got people saying. That's why you got people saying that the spirit is a woman. Now who remembers why he calls him a man in John?
Because man and female created he them. He said man and female created he them.
Yeah, I mean, now he just you just mentioned it, but it's Genesis 5, and Dwight just said it too. I'm trying to make sure y'all remember this because you need to know that. It's important for you to know. You're supposed to know, be able to know why does he call the Ruach a man here? Because you learning the language now, and you learning these words now, and you learning some words are feminine principles and some words are masculine principles. This is why no woman would ever name herself Yasharal, because that's a masculine word. You know what I'm saying? You would never. A woman ain't got no business doing that. So when you see that, you know him because in the beginning he called their name Adam. He made male and female made he them and called their name Adam. Therefore, because the whole family in Shamahim and Iraq is named after Mashiach, then you can see that the comforter or the Ruach would be called a man because it's named after him. You know what I'm saying? So when we turn around and we look at just Genesis chapter 2, right, about verse 21. I'm just laying some groundwork, son, before I really get crunk up. Now it says, and Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. He slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahuwah Elohim had taken from man, made he a woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Now, you know the difference is Mashiach hole wasn't closed. That's why he can say, he that believe on me, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water, because literally out of his belly flow rivers of living water. And you got to realize before he closed up that hole in Adam's belly, you best believe some blood and water came out. You just thought everything just stayed in. You know what I'm saying? If Mashiach going to be the second Adam, then the first Adam got to be representative of that. But if we see that Eve come out and she's called living, and the Ruach is what gives life, and she's the one who gives birth, then we begin to see something, right? Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 3. That's why it's imperative that you have a right mind, Frank. Because see, I'm going to sit there and tell you something. Because Adam and Eve were Nephash, they didn't know how to judge correctly. You know what I'm talking about? They couldn't judge correctly. They had no idea what it meant that if you do this, you will die. You know what I'm talking about? They had no idea not to lean to their desires because they didn't know how to judge. Some of y'all don't know how to judge. You judge completely on how you feel or how things appear to be. You know what I'm talking about? That's why Mashiach say, do not do what? What did he tell you in Yukonon chapter 7 verse 24? What did he tell you? Who knows what he tell you? Some of y'all probably going to swim to look at it right now because I said it. He said, do not judge based off of appearance, but judge righteous judgment. That's why he said there's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death, because you're going to judge it according to how it looks. You're not going to judge it according to the righteousness of Yah's word. You're going to go strictly on how it look or how it feel. And that's wrong. Because he said those that are Mashiachs have crucified the affections and the lust, and they don't live by them. So therefore you're not going to judge situations by how you feel or how it looks. You're going to judge it according to the word. Is this righteousness according to Yah? Would this be pleasing to Yah? If I was standing in front of Yah right now and I asked him, is this the right thing that I'm doing? What would he tell me? You know what I'm saying? And truth be told, you're supposed to already know what he would tell you. So if you got to ask the question, you already know you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you got to ask the question, what would he tell me? You already know you're wrong, and you already know you ain't got no business doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because if the word is in you and you walk according to it, you would already know. And you know why you don't already know? Because the unjust weight and the unjust balance is an abomination under Yahuwah. That means you scale off. You scale off. And we know what happens when you scale off? You scale off because you literally leaning more towards what I want to do versus what the word say. You know what I'm talking about? And then you just end up like this here. Before you know it, you get turned over to reprobate. Because you lean into your own will. A lot of y'all done heard too much word to even have these type of issues. That means if you have those type of issues still, it's because the word is not actually penetrating your heart of stone. You haven't developed a heart of flesh. You still have a heart of stone. You know what I'm saying? I got to get Ephesians 1 and 3. There we go. He say, blessed be Elohim and the Father of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, who have baruched us with spiritual blessings in Shamahim and Mashiach, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be Kadesh and without blame before him in love. You know what I'm saying? When he made Adam and Eve, they ain't had no blame, no nothing. He had already chose them to make them. You're not even sitting back looking at, you seeing the new covenant being sealed and made right there when he take his wife up out of him. You know what I'm saying? Look what else he tell you. Having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahushua HaMashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. Now, how can we go back in the law? He say he done predestinated us to be adopted as his sons. Now, where can we see the beginning of that? We don't have to go read it. This is what we came here for. Where can we look at and see that? If Eve means living, the mother of all living, and the Ruach HaKodesh is what's going to produce all those who live, because without it you have death. You have no life in you. You know what I'm saying? Without that you have no life in you. This goes back to what we looked at in times past when you looked at Cain not being mentioned in the genealogy of Adam, because he had already predestinated that Seth and Enoch and Noah. Because remember he said Noah was a perfect man, just in all the generations, because I've already predestinated your adoption as sons in Shamahim. I've already chosen you to this. You know what I'm talking about? See, the Torah back all that up. I already chose y'all to be sons of Elohim. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at Adam as being Yahushua. You looking at Eve as being the Ruach. You looking at Seth and all them on down. Well, Abel, all them on down as being the children produced of it. Then when we turn around and we look at Mashiach, we look at Yahushua. We look at his side being open. We look at the living waters coming out. We look at the Ruach emanating out of him. We look at those who believe in him and obey him, becoming, get your Acts 5 and 29, becoming the sons of Elohim.
Yeah, but I said I get the gist.
I bet you do. Get the gist of this.
I get the gist.
You know what I'm saying?
I believe you already went through this, so.
Yeah, just in a different way.
Yeah, so it didn't matter. It probably made some of you new niggas.
We done done it in several different manners. Thank
That's
y'all for that.
you know what I'm saying?
Say
That's better. They ain't gonna do it.
Say ain't gonna do nothing for no veteran.
I mean, you hit it in a new aspect because it ties in what you went through.
That's the only reason why I did it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I did it. 5 and 29 though. That's the only reason why I did it. And he say, then Peter and the other apostles answered, we ought to obey Elohim rather than men. You know what y'all sit back and look at? Y'all obey yourself. So you don't actually obey Elohim. You actually obey men because you obey what you want to do. Because that man say we ought to obey Elohim than men. You ask yourself, who you obeying? You think because you ain't listening to a man, but you listening to yourself, though, ain't you a man? He said, the Elohim of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom you slew and hanged on a tree. Him have Elohim exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, and to give repentance to Yasharal and forgiveness of sins. And we are his witnesses of these things, and so also is the Ruach HaKodesh, whom Elohim hath given to them that obey him. You know what I'm saying? Now it said Noah was just and perfect in all his generations. And he said when we look at Adam, he said he had Seth, and Seth was in his likeness and his image. That means these men obeyed him. Because they emanated out of Eve to become the sons of Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to have to turn around and sit back and look at that. In order for you to get the Ruach, you're going to have to obey. You ain't got to answer it out loud. But I would be willing to wager that most of y'all that can hear the sound of my... Hey, listen. Y'all calm that noise down. I'm willing to wager that at some time or another since you've been dealing with the word, that Yah has testified in your Ruach for you to do certain things or not to do certain things. And I'm willing to wager that most of y'all did not listen. Or if you heard it, you didn't believe it. You dismissed it. You know what I'm saying? And then you be sitting back looking at what he always talking about. He hears stuff in his heart and stuff come to his heart. And you wonder why y'all don't say nothing to you or even put nothing in your mind. Because I told you, man, Amos 4 and 13 tell you, he declared to a man what his thought going to be. This man can put a thought in your mind. You know what I'm saying? And he can put this thought in your mind just to see what you going to do. See, a lot of times he don't actually testify to people Ruach because he know you're not going to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? It really just to see where your obedience gonna lie. Like I told you, I done had instances where I ran way back when I first started. I'd be laying down and something just come to my mind like, get up and walk. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, shoot. I don't know where I'm walking at, where I'm going at, and then I ran across somebody that he wanted me to drop information on. Now, whatever that person did with that information after that, only y'all know, because some of these people, nigga ain't never seen them again. You know what I'm talking about? It just be little simple stuff. If you hear it, would you go? Step out the door. Like, it's stuff that done came to me that was going to happen like 3 to 4 minutes before it happened. Like, do this here, get ready for this right here. You know what I'm saying? Get ready for this right here. Get ready for this right. The most powerful thing you hear is if you hear something testifying your Ruach and you are addressed by one simple word, it'll give you a whole lot of comfort in your Ruach if you hear it. And you know what that word is? Son. Boy, if you hear that word right there, that'll give you a whole lot of comfort. Because I don't think too many people going to be talking to themselves and call themselves son. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even think a New York nigga do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, they love to use that word. You know what I'm talking about? You was in the thing and when we was at the post office, because my homeboy from Brooklyn, we seen him, we was in the post office. What's going on, son? I ain't seen you in a minute, big. I was like, boy, I ain't heard a nigga talk to me like that in so long. Mess me up.
Start sitting right back talking on you. You always Brooklyn.
I mean, that was my nigga though, man. I know that nigga since I was 12. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was all our homeboy, a lot of homeboy, that's where they were from. And they talk like that, especially when we were around Big Dog. Well, I'm talking about me and Fat Boy were like that. That nigga said be so much. You know what I'm talking about? Before you know it, you like this here. What's going on, B? Like, oh man. I'm talking about. You like this here? I'm talking about every time. What's going on, B? That's that scammer, B. Boy, when he seen Loon on something we were watching on MTV, and he heard him, that nigga said, hey, yo. Big Dog like this. He said, that's Harlem right there, B. That's Harlem. After that, every time he came through the door. Hey, yo. I said, what did he said it so much, now you saying it. You know what I'm saying? But that happens though. You hang around somebody long enough, boy, you'll start doing stuff like that. He said it a lot though. Like sometimes you be like, really, man? They say you got to take the vein out the backwood, B. And it ain't going to be harsh, B. You know what I'm saying? Then you break the weed down, B, and drop it in the guard, B. Roll him up. I say, well, this nigga said B 15 times in 30 seconds. That was my nigga though. That nigga out of prison now. That's good to know. But our whole objective is to be able to get this man Ruach, because without it, we don't have life. Now, we were looking at something, right? We looking at teeth, consume, and destroy. That is one of the last words that we didn't finish. And I'm also showing you something to tie this back to Adam, too, of what we're looking at, with the other character that we're looking at. We already looked at the noon. Oh, man, this was escaping my mind and my paper gone. Gentlemen, which character means mouth spoken, mouth speak open word? We touched that a little bit. Who know the name of that character? The Pa, that's right. Thank I appreciate that. And then we got the Sean is the last character that we got for Nephash. And then out of our Ibra math, we got the Tile and we got the Lamar. So when we turn around and look at it, looking at Nephash, we see that that's the spoken word of the word of Yahuwah. And that word ought to give life. Actually, we did touch on that a little bit Wednesday. I apologize. But what we did look at was teeth, consume, and destroy. And this is what the soul will do. Let's look at Romans chapter 7. We talked about this a little bit last week. And we're going to look at it again. And we're going to turn around and look at it and see how the living soul, which is the seat. Again, I'll read it for those who may have not heard it. Nephash means soul, self, life, creature, person, appetite, mind, living being, desire, emotion, passion. That which breathes, the inner being of man. Living being with life in the blood, seat of appetites, seat of emotions and passions, activity of mind, will, character, dubious. Because one thing about the flesh, it is unsure and it is suspect and trusting in Yahuwah. The flesh does not trust in Yah. You must understand and know that. If you find yourself doubting Yah, I'm telling you, you carnal. Well, I ain't telling you, you carnal. The word is telling you, you carnal. You know what I'm talking about? And you're going to have to do something about that. And the only thing you can do about that is to put your trust in Yah. So when we look at Romans chapter 7, right? And we look at about verse 14. And I'm going to tie this in because Deidre asked me about this earlier this afternoon. Get you Telahim or Psalm 51 and 5 to go along with this. Now it hit my mind. And it says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. Now, why would Paul make this statement that he is carnal and sold under sin, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to tell y'all something. When I'm on this phone dealing with this language, I don't particularly care. Anybody can speak at any time, male or female. It doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? When we dealing with these letters, so I can be able to interact with y'all. So, what do y'all think Paul means that I'm carnal, sold under sin? What do y'all think that could mean? While y'all pondering on that, let's look at Psalm 51 and 5. Leah. Leah. No, she's not really concerned with that at this time. And it says, behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. What do y'all think that could mean? When we look at it, he say, I'm carnal, I'm sold under sin. That means if you sold to something right, what happened, right? He say he sold under sin. That means somebody had to purchase a sin then, didn't it? To sell him into it, right? So what do y'all think this could mean when Paul say he sold under sin? And then we got Daoud sitting here telling you that he was shapen in lawlessness and that he was birthed into, and he's saying his mother conceived him into transgression.
It was like a harlot.
What y'all think that could mean? Anybody? Y'all extra quiet. Ain't nobody got. Why y'all ain't got to be scared to be wrong. You can say something and it might could lead to something. Ain't no need of being scared.
It was born of a woman, flesh and blood.
Yeah. But I'm waiting for somebody on here because ain't nobody saying a word. All I hear is just air. Just air. Don't nobody want to roll the dice? Don't nobody want to take a shot? This man said he carnal, he sold under sin. What is he talking about? Why would he say that? Why is David saying that he was conceived in iniquity? He was shapen or he was formed in iniquity, and he's saying his mother conceived him into sin. You say because of the thorn, what? Anybody else got any idea what this man could be talking about? Anybody? What y'all sleep? Y'all playing on your phone? On the laptop or something? Yeah. I'm trying to tell you what, we around here getting distracted. Well, let's go ahead and sit back while this man say he carnal, he sold under sin. Let's go on back to Genesis 2 and 7. Ain't nobody got no idea. He say he's carnal, right? He sold under sin. So we're going to have to sit back and see how he carnal is. It says, Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living Nephad. So right there you see he carnal right then, right? He said, I'm carnal. So how did he get sold under sin? Come on over here to Genesis chapter 3 and let's see how he got sold under sin then. Remember, we're looking at the Shan, which is to consume and to destroy. Get your John 10 and 10, go along with this. Right on up here to Genesis 3 and 1. Let's see, we'll look at it again now. He said, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim made. That's why I keep telling y'all, subtle mean this nigga slick and sly. This is another example of coming with the form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. A lot of people come looking like they are y'all, but boy, they don't be a y'all, they be real subtle. And he said unto the woman, yea, have Elohim said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? The woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. For Elohim doth know that in that day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband. Just drop down to verse 11. And he said, who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee, thou shalt not eat? And the man said, the woman who thou gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So when we turn around and look at what David says he was shapen in iniquity, He was already shaping in iniquity when he was made of the dust of the ground, because he was made of flesh, seats of appetite. We already know what Romans 8 say. That which is of the flesh, the carnal mind, is enmity against the law of Elohim. It's not subject to it, neither indeed can be. You understand what I'm saying? So when we see Eve turn around and she partakes of the tree, because Paul already telling you I'm carnal, I'm sold under sin. So Paul already telling you I'm carnal, I'm dust and ashes. I'm sold under sin because of the disobedience of Eve. She sold me into it. Get 1 Timothy chapter 2 about verse 11 before I look at John 10. Y'all sit down. He shows 1 Timothy 2 and 11. Well, 1 Timothy 2 and 13. 1 Timothy 2 and 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question. I'm going to ask y'all a question because it just come to my mind. How we going to relate this epistle to Mashiach right here? Adam was first formed, then Eve. Who going to be able to, who on this phone can relate that to Mashiach right now? Before anybody in the room try. Who on this phone is willing to make that opportunity? Who willing to take that opportunity right now? He said Adam was first formed, then Eve. So how are we going to line that up properly? Anybody in the room want to take a shot at it? Go ahead. Remember now, what does Eve mean again? Life. And what does Adam mean again?
First from the ground.
First from the ground, or first from the blood, right? So we're looking at first from the blood was formed first and then living. So how can we relate this to Mashiach?
I was thinking first fruits and then what?
Think about it now. First from the ground. Adam was first formed, then Eve. So first from the ground was formed, then living. Just something we just looked at on Wednesday. Good idea. Hello?
Yeah, be born and then
Hello?
One-on-one.
Let's look.
basically complete his life cycle and then we get.
Let's look at John 7:37. Let's look at John 7:37. What we're looking at is the first covenant had to be made, then the second. You know what I'm talking about? Before there could be a second, had to be a first. You understand what I'm telling you? We're going to look at John 7. Y'all just bear with me. Sunday, that just came to my mind. He said, in that last day, that great day of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believe on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. But this he spake of the Ruach, which they that believe on him should receive. For the Ruach HaKodesh was not yet given, because that Yahushua was not yet glorified. So the living couldn't come until he was esteemed. How was a Mashiach esteemed? How was he esteemed? Let's sit back and look at it, see how he was esteemed. The 12th chapter of John and the 24th verse. 23rd verse. Let's look and see how he was esteemed. Because we got to sit back and look at it. Before the living can come, if he the first from the ground, that's looking at the resurrection. But then you turn around and look at he the first from the blood. And what we're looking at is we looking at the Sham, which means teeth, consume, and destroy. If you were shaping in iniquity, and your mother conceived you in iniquity, and Paul said he carnally, he sold under sin in order to destroy the flesh, then guess what's got to happen?
You got to die.
You got to die. It's saying, Yahushua answered them, saying, the hour is come that the Son of Man should be esteemed. So what hour is this coming that the Son of Man will be esteemed? The hour of his death. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except the corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abide alone, but if it die, it bring forth much fruit. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abide alone, but if it die, it bring forth much fruit. We done looked at this before. Where can we see that again? I just read it. And we looked at this almost a year ago, too. I'll read it again, see who catches it. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abide alone, but if it die, it bring forth much fruit. What did he say about Adam that wasn't good?
What did he say that wasn't good?
Yeah, what did he say about it? When he made Adam, he said something wasn't good.
Oh, for him
To be alone, right? And then when he said it wasn't good for him to be alone, right? What happened to Adam after that?
he fell into a ditch.
He died, right? He died, right? And then what happened after that?
Took his ribs out.
He brought forth some fruit.
Oh, yeah, that too.
You gotta sit back and realize. You gotta sit back and realize the ruach,
Never take your ribs out.
Yeah,
The seed multiplied.
the seed multiplied. How? Because what did Eve do? Abel, Seth, Noah, Enoch, Methuselah, all the way on down the line. All of them. That's why he say first Adam was formed, then Eve. Because he say Adam wasn't the seed that was in the transgression. Eve was. You know what I'm saying? Now that turned back to Yasharal was the one who committed the sin, not Mashiach. Y'all were wrong. That's why I be telling y'all, that's why he'll come at anybody, but he'll always come at the woman, because the woman will always fall for the okie doke every single time. You know what I'm saying? Satan know the woman is easy to get. And if he want to get a strong man, then he got to go through it, whatever woman he dealing with to get to that man. You know what I'm saying? That's how he was able to get to Adam, was through that woman. You know what I'm talking about? I've been being serious though. I done told y'all this before. That's real talk, man. If Satan want to get at a man, he gonna try to get at her through this woman. You know what I'm talking about? That's how he gonna try to take him now. You gotta mute that phone stand, but you got a lot of stuff going on back there. Yeah, all them children, they going hard too. He say, he that love his life shall lose it, and he that hate his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me, and where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. So you got to ask yourself, is wherever you at and wherever you going and whoever you with, is Mashiach there? Because if he ain't there, then you are an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up. That's just like going to the liquor store or going to the club and be like, I serve Mashiach, and he in here? So he had mascara. He had the silver fox. He had the dope trap. Well, he sat down with sinners. I bet you Mashiach ain't going to no dope house. You know what I'm talking about? I sit out here and talk. I'll talk with you. I ain't going to your trap house, though. Y'all smoking weed, smoking crack, cigarettes. I ain't trying to smell all that. You know what I'm saying? They be like, boy, that go to master coming about the dope house. What was he copping, a 40? You don't want nobody. See, and you know what something? I don't care what nobody think. Well, you or y'all, you gonna care. I don't want nobody even say back and talking about I came and bought no dope up out your house. You know what I'm talking about? Because you know what? Because you know the reason being here, y'all don't be realizing this here. When you perfect this stuff, I done told y'all this before, people be watching and they be looking for anything, and then once you do something, that give them an excuse to not want to do it no more. Because that's all they be looking for. He say, now my soul is troubled. What shall I say? You heard that man say, his soul troubled. Now why would his soul be troubled? I'm finna get killed. Y'all thought he was finna get killed and be smiling, giving high fives. Yeah, boy, they finna kill me, boy. Well, I'm talking, they finna spin my face, hit me with some rocks. You know what I'm talking about? Slap me around. Put a crown of thorns right on my head, boy. It's gonna cut my scalp up decent, boy. Woo! I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait.
Okay.
He say, neither now is my soul troubled. What shall I say? Abba, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour. Abba, glorify thy name. Then came a voice from Shamahim saying, I have both esteemed it, and I will esteem it again. So before the Ruach could even be formed to be given, Adam got to be made first. In order for Adam to be made first, he got to go in the dust of the ground. He's got to die. And then his wife got to come up out of it. It's the same thing. Come on back to 1 Timothy chapter 2.
Yeah, they're pretty decent.
1 Timothy 2 and 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. You know how she was deceived being in the transgression? Because she went after her flesh. She went after what she wanted. What she wanted was more important than what she was told, because she didn't have a heart of faith. How was she going to be able to have a heart of faith? She's a living Nephas. She got a dubious mind. She's uncertain. Things are suspect. Things are questionable. I'm going to go after my passions and go with that and see how it works out. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to tell you now, men and women do it. But I know in my experience, I've seen women will roll the dice and just let me see how this works out. And then it crashes. Instead of sitting back chilling. I done seen some men do it too. They usually do it in finance though. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I done seen. Money wise, they don't be certain on doing something. They make a bad move and they be looking stupid. They be broke. You know what I'm talking about? I done seen some dudes be like, well, I'm gonna just see how it goes. Dealing with a woman or family members and all that. Usually men just sit back and be like, you know what? If I'm uncertain about something, I'm just not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
I'm gonna just step back. I ain't gonna roll the dice and try it and see how it happens. You know what I'm talking about? That's just how our minds are wired. If I ain't sure about something, I ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? A woman be like she ain't sure about something and do it anyway. Woo! That's how it happened to you. Come on back to Genesis chapter 2, verse 21. Then get you, I said John 10 and 10. Let me get that John 10 and 10. Y'all just bear with me, man. I'm trying to get to my whole point. We got to get to overcoming after a while. I ain't been going that long. I ain't been going about 30 minutes. Let's get to John 10 and 10, man. Grab the wrong book this afternoon. John 10 and 10. He said, the thief come not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. Because that's what Satan would come to do. If he would all he would come to do was steal, kill, and destroy. And guess what that is? That's the Sean right there. That's what Satan came to do. He came to destroy the whole order, didn't he? That's what he came to do. That's what a living soul will turn around and do. It will destroy the things that Elohim has built. Since I said that, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, about verse 15. Make it 16. You sit back and look at it, right? Listen what the man tell you. Know ye not that ye are the temple of Elohim, and that the Ruach of Elohim dwell in you? If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy. For the temple of Elohim is Kadesh, which temple ye are. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Elohim, for it is written, he take the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the master knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. What did Eve say about that tree? What did she say about it? What did she say that tree was? And what else did she say? It'll make one wise. See, he already knew that the thoughts of her mind were vain. She wanted to be wise in this world when she should have been a fool. You know what I'm talking about? Remember what Paul said? He said, I would rather you be wise unto that which is good and simple to that which is evil. Because he told you in Jeremiah 4 and 22 that this is Sodom's children, meaning you stupid. You know what I'm talking about? He said you wise to do evil, but to do good you have no understanding. This is what happens when you're a living soul. When you carnal and you sold under sin and you walk after your flesh. You have no wisdom to do that which is good. You know what I'm saying? You walk in the wisdom of this world. What seems right. What the world says. You know, we can get caught up in a lot of stuff on what the world says. You know what I'm talking about? The world say this and the world say that and the world say this and the world say that. You know, one thing about it, you know, you can get some good inspirational stuff. You can get some stuff out the world. At the same time, though, the wisdom of the world is foolishness to Elohim. You know what I'm saying? We have to make sure that we don't try to mix the wisdom of the world with the wisdom of Elohim. This is what Eve did. See, she didn't become a fool so she could be wise. You know what I'm saying? We had to turn around and become a fool to be wise. This is what Satan played her with. He knows she desired that type of wisdom. She wanted to be smart. She wanted to know something. She wanted to be equal to man. She wanted to be equal to Elohim. But in her purpose of doing that, she crashed. Now, I'll say this here now. That's just not indicative of women. Men do that more than anything. You know what I'm talking about? I can't even throw that and say women seek after that there. You know, in these days and times, because of gender reversals and the corruption of this world, you know what I'm talking about? It's real prevalent. But boy, you know, it's a lot of men want to be wise. They want to seem to be smart. They want people to tell them how wise they are, how smart they are, how intelligent they are, and all that type of stuff. And they end up crashing because your thoughts are worthless because you don't have the wisdom. You don't have coat muscle. You don't know how to war. You don't have no skill. You know what I'm saying? This is why I sit back and tell any woman, you supposed to sit back and look at, would you want a man who got the wisdom of this world or a man who got the wisdom of Elohim? Just like the book say about a virtuous woman, say wisdom in her tongue, right? That means she'll have some skill. So you as a man, you sit back and look at, you want a virtuous, wise woman or you just want a simpleton? No, she could cook a meal or two and get freaky. She ain't got no wisdom in her brain, no skill in her brain. What can you do with her? You know what I'm saying? What can you do with them? When all that other stuff fade away, what you going to be able to do with them? That's what the Most High sitting back looking at us. What I'm going to be able to do with you? And you got the wisdom of this world in your head. And not the wisdom of Elohim. You're worthless. You know what I'm talking about? You are literally worthless. That's something to think about right there, right? If you got the wisdom, this man said your thoughts are worthless. And you know why your thoughts are worthless? Because it says, as we read the definition, that it's the activity of the mind, the will, the character, the seat of passions and emotions. That stuff is worthless. You're going to need this mind. You're going to need the mind of Mashiach. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 2 where he say that. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and about verse 13. That's what you're going to need. That's what you're going to need. Just don't sit back and look at it because I'm using natural situations to talk about the spiritual now. Just because I'm using a relationship between a man and a woman, that don't necessarily mean that that's what I'm talking about. Because you're supposed to sit back and look at that, our relationship to Yah as it is a man and a woman. Because we are the members of his body. You know what I'm talking about? That means we are his wife. It's one body with many members. He say, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bones. Once you've been baptized or immersed into Mashiach, you done became a part of his body. That means you are his wife. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So if you sit back looking at that, you're headed by a man who has wisdom, the wisdom of Elohim. He made himself a fool that he may be wise. And you say this is why you follow him. Well, he don't want no virtue. The word say a virtuous woman got wisdom in her tongue. That's what the word say. So quite naturally, he looking at that woman. He don't want a woman who ain't got no wisdom with her. Not the wisdom that's of Mashiach. You got the wisdom of the world in your head. He can't do nothing with you. You worthless. You vain.
No.
So I got to break this down to y'all just so y'all know. Because I do the same thing that Yah does. You know, you go through the word. Yah described his relationship with Yasharal between a man and a woman quite a lot, didn't it? And you know why he did that? Because most people can relate to that. You know what I'm talking about? That's an easy natural situation to take the way you can actually see what he's talking about. And the other natural situation that he used for you to be able to see what he was talking about is the relationship between a parent and a child. You know what I'm talking about? You know why? Because pretty much everybody on this earth can relate to both of those scenarios in some shape, form, or fashion. Unless you're a homosexual.
Quiet.
Then you can't relate to man and woman interactions. And I wouldn't wager that any homosexual will be hearing the word of Yahuwah in truth and in Ruach. Well, stop being a crash dummy. He say, which things also, this is 1 Corinthians 2 and 13. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teach, but which the Ruach HaKodesh teach, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. You see what that is? You see what Paul telling you? See, we dealing with the things which the Ruach teach, which is the wisdom of Elohim, which would take us back to Kokma. You know what I'm talking about? And we're going to compare the things that are spiritual with the things that are spiritual. You know what we messed up at? We do just like what Eve did. You try to take the spiritual and compare it with a carnal. Unjust weight, unjust balance. You're going to make the wrong move. Just like she did. Because you would rather have the wisdom of this world and the wisdom of your own thoughts, which is vain. He say, for the natural man receive not the things of the Ruach of Elohim, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Why you think Adam couldn't know? Because he was a natural man. He could not receive the things of the Ruach Elohim. He couldn't get them. He was a natural man. That's why you got to transition from being a living soul and become quickened by the Ruach. You can't be a living soul no more. He say, but he that is spiritual judge all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. So if you sit back and look at, if a spiritual man judge a matter, the law say you ought to listen to this man when he judges in Deuteronomy 16, if I'm not mistaken. But the reason why y'all don't want to hear that, because you carnal. And when you carnal, you're not going to want to accept the things of the Ruach, because those things are contrary to what you desire to do. You know what I'm saying? When you compare something spiritual with spiritual, you're going to get it. When you try to compare something spiritual to natural, it's going to be foolishness to the person that's natural. Every time. Every time. That's why we turn around, we look at Eve. What Elohim told her was foolishness to her compared to what Satan was telling her. Because she was a natural man. She was a natural woman. She couldn't get the things of the Ruach. She was not spiritually discerned to be able to tell the difference between the two. So that which was carnal looked spiritual. It looked appealing. She went after it. We got to make sure we don't make the same mistake. Remember, Romans 15 say the things that are written aforetime were written for our learning. You know what I'm talking about? That through the scriptures, we might have hope. That stuff is not in there for no reason. That stuff written for your learning that you may know what to do and what not to do. Because you looking at a woman who was not spiritually discerned. She could not tell the difference. It looked good, it feels good, it seems good, let me have it. And she died. And she died. So we had to sit back and look at it. Just because we in the world and it looks good and it seems good, don't go after it. Because it might not, if you spiritually discern, you're going to be able to know the difference. That's death right there. You know what the crazy part is? Most of y'all won't go to McDonald's. You won't go to Burger King. You know what I'm talking about? You won't go to some of these fast food restaurants because when you see that, you see death. Right? But boy, y'all can have certain situations come up in your life and you can't discern between life and death when they appear. Now, how sad is that? That you can look at a restaurant and discern, I wouldn't eat here because that's death to go. I don't eat processed food. I don't eat that. That's death. But yet you can't see death when it manifests in the flesh, though. Or when it manifests in life situations. You can't see death. You're not discerned enough to be able to tell the difference. That should be scary. You know what I'm saying? That means you're not a full age. You can't discern between good and evil. You're still a baby. Some of y'all have no business being a baby. I'm talking about big 6, 7-year-old child still breastfeeding. That's what you're supposed to sit back and look at. Matter of fact, we'll just crank it up a notch. 14, 15-year-old boy breastfeeding. I ain't talking about trying to suck on no titty from one of his high school girlfriends or peers. I'm talking about latched on to his mama. How would y'all feel if you seen a 15-year-old boy latched on to his mama's breast? How would that look to you? Matter of fact, a 22-year-old man latched on to his mama's breast. How would that look to you? You would think that would be weird, wouldn't you? You would think that, nigga, you big grown nigga? Well, you got to turn around and look at it. That's how y'all look at some of y'all. Your big grown behind still on a titty. I've been giving you breast milk. I've been feeding you with table food. You still don't want the table food. You want the titty. When you going to grow up? When you going to mature? Why is your development stunted? Why have you stopped growing? Well, it's only 1 or 2 reasons why individuals stop growing. It's because the word is not penetrating out that hard. It's because they don't believe it. And they have no desire to obey it and follow it. And the other reason is, it's easier to lean to the flesh and stay in that stagnant state than to lean to the Ruach and grow. You know what I'm saying? Because you may be hearing the word and you hearing what the word telling you to do, but you would rather appease your flesh than to walk in the Ruach. He said, but who have known the mind of the master of Yahuwah that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Mashiach. Remember, Mashiach made himself a fool so he could be wise. You know what I'm saying? And we got to do the same thing. Got to take his mind on. Because that's what the Sean is talking about. Satan came to destroy the whole thing. Get your 1 John 3 and 8. This is why Mashiach had to come around and do this here. This is why the second Adam had to come around here and do this here. Because the first Adam got consumed and he got destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a living soul. That's what the flesh aims to do. It aims to destroy. That's why Mashiach told you the Ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. You know what I'm saying? The flesh seeks to destroy. Satan seeks to steal, kill, and destroy. And he seeks to come at you. That's why I was telling y'all that Wednesday. He seeks to come at you by the things that are pleasing to your flesh. He will never come at you with the things that are pleasing to your Ruach. He's going to come at you with what pleases your flesh. And the things that will please your flesh will take you to hell every single time. That's how he comes. And I'm telling you, just like we were talking about, and just like we were talking about Wednesday when Pale mentioned that there. He only come when you weak. So if you catch yourself in any manner of temptation, that means Satan sent that. If you in a situation and you are weak and you catch yourself in a position you don't know what to do, you don't know what to think, you don't know what direction to go, that's the devil. If we look at the word, right? That's when he comes. Say a strong man, he don't come in a strong man's house lest the strong man be bound first. You know what I'm saying? Let me get you in a position of weakness. Then I'm going to come. Then I'm going to come. Y'all ain't never came at a man and sought no temptation to take him down. Y'all don't even tempt a man with evil. You know what I'm talking about? So that's Satan all the way. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all don't tempt a man with evil. And he definitely wouldn't send that at a man when he was in a weak state. You know what I'm talking about? You know what y'all going to do when you're in a weak state? It's going to comfort you. He's going to actually send somebody to strengthen you with his word, not strengthen you with the things of the flesh. That's why he say you of your father the devil, the lust of your father you will do. The desires of your father, that's what you're going to do. The desire of your father is to walk after the flesh. The desire of the father in Shamahim is to walk after the Ruach. That's being spiritually discerned. You'll be able to know the difference between the two. People have situations come up and be like, I think y'all son that. It's pleasing your flesh and y'all son it. You know what I'm saying? It's pleasing to your flesh and y'all son it. Y'all ain't going to send you nothing that's going to gratify your flesh, man. Nothing. You know why y'all ain't going to send you nothing to gratify your flesh? Because he don't operate by the flesh. He is a Ruach. He is not Nephash. He is not carnal. So he's not going to appeal to carnality. Satan does that. Y'all supposed to know that. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to know the difference. Hold up. Well, I know that ain't y'all right there. You know what I'm talking about? Because it make me feel good in the flesh. I know that ain't. Boy, y'all make you feel good inwardly. I'm talking about in your Ruach. In your Ruach. He going to make you feel good in your spirit. In your inner man. You know what I'm talking about? You got to know the difference between the two. You know the difference between the two, you can spare yourself from a lot of stuff, man. I ain't doing nothing but trying to warn you and tell you, man, so you can don't make the same mistake Eve made. You know what I'm saying? Where you lose your life. Because this your life. All the extra extraneous stuff that anybody could be thinking about, man, that stuff is grossly irrelevant. This is your life. He say, choose you this day, blessing and cursing, life and death. I tell you, therefore, choose life. The flesh leads to cursing and death. The Ruach leads to baruching and life. That's what it leads to. And you got to be spiritually discerned to know the difference. That's why we started on that Wednesday. And y'all willing, you know, y'all just bear with me. We're going to work our way through this stuff. That's why we started about this on Wednesday. About the first Adam was a living Nephash and the second Adam was a quickening Ruach. Because there's a difference. That's why last Shabbat I asked, were any of y'all weak in the flesh? Because if you weak in the flesh, that means you a living Nephash. And if you weak in the flesh, that means Satan can tempt you with anything that's going to please your flesh. You are an open target. You know what I'm saying? You are an open target. If you know you weak in your flesh, you are an open target. And Satan going to come for you. He going to come for you because he feel like he can take you down. I'm telling you, he don't attack strong people. He only attacks you when you're in a weak state. And even then, when he come at you in a weak state, he knows them that are strong enough to resist him. He knows them that's strong enough to resist him. Because he'll throw a little stuff at him. He like, I know the nigga ain't going to do it, but I'm going to try him anyway. You know what I'm saying? But then other people, he know you weak, he going to throw it out there to you because he know you going to do it. He know you going to do it. Because you weak. In your flesh. I'm not talking about being weak mentally. You know what I'm talking about? Meaning you're weak in your flesh. Meaning you're weak to go over and lend yourself over to the desires of the flesh. That's what I mean when I say that. When you weak in the flesh, that means you're weak to the point that you will seek to satisfy and gratify the flesh versus resisting and denying the flesh. You know what I'm saying? That's why he say, let this same mind be in you, the same mind that was in Yahushua HaMashiach. He that suffer in the flesh cease from sin. That he should no longer live the rest of his time to the pleasures of sin, but to the will of Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? When you strong in the flesh, in the Ruach, you're not going to be weak to the flesh. Therefore, you're crucified. You'll resist the flesh, and you'll do as Yah commands you to do. When you weak in the flesh, you will lend yourself over to gratify the flesh, and then feel miserable because you've done it. When you're not hurting nobody but yourself, and you would have nobody to blame but yourself. Because you can't put that on Yah. You can't put that on the devil. Because he say when a man is tempted, he is drawn away and enticed by his own desire. So you went and did that because you wanted to go do that. That what you wanted to do was more important than pleasing Yah. It was better to please your flesh than to please the man whom you claim is your God. So that means that's a situation you got to sit back and look at and assess what you're going to do. Because it was more important to Eve than to please herself than to please Elohim like she was instructed to do. Because she was not spiritually discerned. Because she had a natural mind versus a carnal mind. You got to change minds. That's why he told you you must be born again. That's why he said make you a new heart and a new ruach. You need another mind. You can't get in the kingdom of Shamahim with a living soul, with a living Nephash. You got the mind of dirt. You got to get in the kingdom of Shamahim with a ruach. You got to get in the kingdom of Shamahim with the mind of a Mashiach. That's the mind of the things that are eternal. The things that are of righteousness, the things that are of Kadesh, the things that pertain to life, the things of a living Nephi pertain to death. It will consume you. It will destroy you.
Yeah.
Now, you ain't got to listen to nothing I say, and you can take this stuff as I'm just idly talking, but when you stand in front of this man's throne, you're not going to say you wasn't told. You're not going to say you wasn't told. 3 and 8, 1 John. He that commits sin is of the devil. For the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of Elohim was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil. So you know what the Son of Elohim was manifested to? To destroy the works of the flesh. Romans 8 and 1. That's what he was manifested to do. It was to destroy the flesh. What you look at?
And your time is you're fine to go.
Yeah, I know. I thought it'd go after 9.
No, it's a little further, man. About 8:55.
Oh, thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate you.
Said it was 55 minutes.
Yeah, you're such a helpful baby. He said, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Yahushua HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. Do you see how Adam and Eve got condemned? You know why they got condemned? Because they were living Nephi. They walked after the flesh and not the Ruach. That's why some of y'all, God forbid, are going to be condemned. Because you're going to walk after your flesh and not the Ruach. There's no condemnation to anybody who walk in the Ruach. How can y'all condemn you for walking in him? If you've been quickened by the Ruach, how can he condemn you? How is that possible? He said, for the law of the Ruach of life and Yahushua HaMashiach have made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh. You see that there? What the law could not do, what can we just look at in Genesis talking about what the law could not do because it's weak through the flesh? Who got any idea? So let me finish the verse. Elohim sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. Again, remember what we looked at? I'm carnal, sold under sin. I was shapen in iniquity, right? In sin, my mother conceived me. Because all you got to do is, I'm going to read it in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now I'm going to ask y'all this again. What does that mean, what the law cannot do, and that it was weak through the flesh? What can we look at in Bereshit and Genesis that back that up?
Live. Where the hell?
The law couldn't give life. I said we knew the law couldn't give life.
You know what it means, how the law was weak through the flesh? Because Elohim told Adam and Eve, he gave them a Torah, then he gave them an instruction, don't eat from this tree, right? But the law couldn't do nothing for them because they were weak to the flesh. They were carnal beings. They were fleshly beings. That instruction wasn't going to do nothing for them. That's why you say the law is in the carnal mind is enmity against the law of Elohim. It's not something. That's why I be telling y'all, don't be thinking you doing something. Oh, I keep the Sabbath. But y'all be commit other sins though. You know what I'm saying? You thinking you amped up because you do this and you do that. But you do other stuff though. You lend to the flesh every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like that and be saved. You're going to have to get that flesh up. You're going to have to give it up. You're going to have to get rid of that mind. You can't have the mind that Eve had. You need the mind that Mashiach got. That's the mind we got to have. If we don't have that mind, we're not going to get to where we say we want to be. We're not going to be with who we say we want to dwell with. That flesh will take you down. You know what I'm saying?
Mommy!
That flesh will take you down. That's his whole objective. He said, I know in my flesh dwell no good thing. Ain't nothing good coming out of nothing carnal.
No.
He said that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. The word to be complete. And you know how we sit back looking at that? Because we see Adam, first the blood, producing Eve of the living, and the Ruach coming up out of him, right? So that those that sit back and see that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled. Mashiach came and fulfilled the righteousness of the Torah with that. Because Adam was formed first, then Eve. Mashiach was formed in the dust of the ground, then the Ruach came. You know what I'm talking about? Then life came. Mankind had to be produced in order to get life. The son of Elohim had to be made in order to get life. So we see the Torah being fulfilled in Mashiach, the righteousness of the faith of the law fulfilled right in, if you believe that. Because he said the Ruach wasn't given yet because the Mashiach had not yet been glorified. The Mashiach hadn't died yet and been esteemed in order for that to come. Come on, man. Hush all that up, man. Nobody want to hear all that, man. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit back and think about that. That's the fulfilling of the Torah right there. That's the righteousness of the law. Eternal life, the new covenant. Hebrews 8 and 7. Now when you sit back and look at what you gonna do. Now we're gonna get ready to look at the top. I'm gonna get to overcoming in a minute. Y'all permit. Because now we're gonna have to overcome the flesh. The only way you're gonna overcome the flesh is with what? The word. Y'all looking for some old magic elixir, something old special. Hear the word, keep the word, and do the word. You'll overcome all things. You'll overcome your flesh if you stick to the word. You won't lead to the, you know what the dumbest situation any nigga could do? Put yourself in a position where you know you weaken the flesh and your flesh would fall for it and put your stupid retarded behind right in a situation where you would lend to gratify your flesh. That's got to be the dumbest move ever. You know what I'm saying? That's like somebody who just stopped smoking weed, walking a room full of marijuana smokers. A nigga who like butt naked women going to the strip club.
No.
A nigga who like to steal, walking in the bank and they got the vault open and ain't nobody looking. You know what I'm saying?
I can't do that. That's too many coincidences going on.
And ain't nobody looking.
I mean, you really can't do that right there.
But I'm saying, but he came there to steal, and the opportunity was there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He gonna make it positive.
He gonna make a withdrawal.
It ain't his fault.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm sitting there telling you, that's the dumbest thing anybody could ever do. If you know your flesh is weak, why would you put yourself in a position to be tempted? That's got to be stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's got to be stupid. Like I'm talking about, your level of intelligence has to be extremely small to even do something like that. Because, boy, I done been in a position where I know, boy, if I go around there and go around here, I'm going to do this right here. I ain't going around there. You know what I'm saying? It only took one time of me being stupid or putting myself in a position where I know I would have went and did something and did it, that why I ain't do that no more. And that's all it took. I put myself in a position where my flesh would be tempted. I would tempt it. I did it. I never do that ever again. I say, boy, that was extra stupid on your part. You know what I'm talking about? You got to be the dumbest nigga in captivity. You know what was going to happen. And you went and did it anyway? Yeah, you got to be dumb. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying that. And guess what? And if you offended, I repent not for you being offended because you ought to be ashamed. You know what I'm saying? You ought to be ashamed. That's why Paul said, if I offended you with words, I repent not. Unless those words move you to godly repentance, I will not repent because you have been made sorrowful. Because you ought to have been made sorrowful. That's why he say, some of you have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame. You ought to be ashamed. And that shame ought to move you to repent, change your life, and don't do it no more. Why would you put yourself in a position to sin? Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. If I know a situation gonna cause me to sin, I'm gonna avoid that at all costs. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I got to do to be able to avoid that, I'm gonna avoid that situation. You know what I'm saying? I get to you in the simplest form that I know. Nigga get out of prison. He don't want to sell drugs. All his friends sell drugs. He's still hanging with them while they selling dope, riding around, catching pops, sitting in the trap, standing on the block with him. You know what eventually what's going to happen? He going to sell dope again. Because you don't want to sell no dope, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to go around the same people who doing the same things. Because if you go around the people who are doing the things that you used to do, or the things that you want to do, then guess what's going to end up happening? You're going to go do them too. Yeah, he bit the not strong though. Not strong though. Just a light bite. Ain't no barks now.
Yeah, and be that first go.
Yeah, ain't no barks now. Y'all know about Barks Root Beer? In the silver can, that thing hit on. Make me want to go get an A&W. You don't know nothing about no A&W.
I'm not a root beer drinker.
I like root beer. I don't drink it often. It make me fat. You know what I'm saying? Along with a lot of other things I like to eat. But nevertheless, Hebrews 8 and 7. Listen what he tell you. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should have no place been sought for a second. If the first Adam had been faultless, there would have been no need for a second one. It wouldn't have been no need for no quickening ruach if the living Nephash had been faultless. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the day come, saith Yahuwah, while I make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and with the house of Yehudah. Not according to the covenant I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Mizraim, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahuwah. And guess what happened? Adam didn't regard his covenant. So guess what happened? You don't get the right to the tree of life. You get put out. And what did he do to Yasharal? You don't get to stay here. You get put out. You know why? Because you got consumed. You got destroyed. Is he pardoned?
What?
Ooh, that's grown people for it. He said, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Yasharal after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my Torah into their mind, I will write it in their hearts, and I will be to them an Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. Do you not realize Eve coming up out of him is the showing you of that? That's the showing you of that. Even when he's saying birth, and the woman gonna have travail and birth, all this affliction and all this stuff he's talking about, this all this talking about is the new covenant. Because the first Adam was faultless. The second Adam wasn't. See, the living Nephash can't keep the word in your heart and your mind for you to know Yahuwah. If it did, Eve would obey. But the second Adam is able to put the word in your heart that you might obey. Because the word is Ruach. We said we know the Torah is Ruach. The word that I speak unto you are Ruach in our life. The flesh profit nothing. A living Nephash ain't got no gain. How do we know a living Nephash ain't got no gain? Because what we read in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. He said, Elohim know the thoughts of man, that they're foolishness. You know what I'm talking about? They're pure vanity. They're worthless. The thoughts of a carnal-minded man are worth absolutely nothing. So guess what that means if you still carnally minded? To Yahuwah, you are worth absolutely nothing. He can't get no gain from you. My dear brothers and sisters, let it not be so. You know what I'm saying? Let your mind not be vain. Let y'all be able to have profit and gain from you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying none of this stuff to make nobody feel bad. We exhort you that you might save yourself from this untoward generation, that your soul might be quickened and made alive through Yahushua HaMashiach, that you dwell with Yahuwah forever. Let it not be so. You know what I'm saying? Let a carnal mind not dwell with you. Let not wisdom that's of man and of the world dwell in your mind, the way you be pure vanity and foolishness and worthless to Yahuwah. Let there be gain. Let there be worth with you. You know what I'm talking about? Go from being carnal to being spiritual. Go from being a fleshly man to a spiritual man. But the only person who can do that for you is you. And you're going to have to do the one key thing. And what is that one key thing they got to do, sir?
Die.
You got to die. You got to die. In order to get life, you got to die. A lot of y'all went and got in that water and say you were crucified to Mashiach, but you didn't die though. You didn't die to your flesh. You didn't die to sin. You didn't die to the world. Some of y'all might have even got strengthened even more in sin, even more in your flesh, even more in the world. The direct opposite occurred because you allowing your flesh to resist the things that are the Ruach. The things that you ought not do, you do. And the things that you ought to do, you don't do. Therefore, there's a war going on between your members. What you going to allow to happen? You're going to have to crucify your members with the word. You're going to have to mortify them things. You have to put a nail in the stake to it. And since I said nail in the stake, when we look at the Torah, right, it means sign and cross and covenant and seal, right? We just read about the covenant, right? Can we sit back and see where the covenant was sealed at? Who on this phone can we sit back and see where the covenant was sealed at? All right, wasn't with Sarah. Anybody besides Stanley? Because Stanley the only one rolling the dice. Ain't nobody else want to roll the dice.
You said it's bone in my bone, flesh in my flesh.
To an extent. Do any other women want to roll the dice? Anybody want? He gonna crap out. You know what I'm saying? You might hit a 7. Hey, we got a winner. 7-11. Even hit backdoor Lil Joe and pick up your cash flow. Don't nobody want to take no shot.
What's the question again?
Where can we look at with Adam where the covenant was sealed? No, it wasn't that with them. Anybody want to try their hand at where can we read where the covenant was sealed?
Shoot, when you say, what's it called? Male and female, male, ye, them.
Can anybody tell me when the covenant was sealed?
Pretty much.
No. Well, let's go and look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 21 then. Y'all were bouncing around it. Y'all were bouncing around it. Peril was a verse, two verses lower. When he closed his side up. It said, Yahuwah Elohim called a deep sleep and fall upon Adam, and slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. That means he sealed it. You got to remember when the Mashiach was on the tree, he got hit in the side. When he got hit in the side, that sealed the covenant. Now come on back to Ephesians chapter 1. Let's see what it gets you sealed. You got to realize when the Mashiach, and get your Hebrews 9-24. When the Mashiach was up there on that stake now, that's sealing the covenant. What you need to get a covenant sealed? Blood. And that's not 9-24, y'all. That's 9 and 15.
But I think it's just closed up. But I wasn't thinking about.
What I just said for that Hebrews 9.
You said Ephesians.
Yeah, Ephesians 1-14. I'll get old sometimes.
I'm still young, man.
Make it 12.
Oh, man.
So there. Go 10. Make it 10 instead. You know, sometimes I forget stuff. Say that in the dispensation of the fullness of times, he might gather together in one all things in Mashiach, both which are in Shamahim and which are on the rest, even in him. Don't you realize he say flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone? Man turned around and gathered all things in one, and Adam didn't. And in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worked all things after the counsel of his own will. He had already chosen Adam to inherit all of these things, right? Had dominion over everything, all that. That we should be the praise of his esteem, which first trusted in Mashiach, whom ye also trusted, after you heard the word of truth. See, that's the key thing. Have you heard the word, did you actually trust? Or are you actually just listening? Are you hearing the word, or are you listening? Because if you heard the word of truth, then you would trust in the Most High. I got the Hebrews 9-15, and you get your 1 John 4-18 to go right behind that. He said, the gospel of your salvation, whom also after ye believed, you were sealed with the Ruach HaKodesh of promise, which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession, unto the praise of his esteem. Don't you realize when he sealed that man up on the side, the Ruach done came out. So she that is living has came out. Because the Ruach HaKodesh give eternal life to all them that receive it, right? So that means after Eve came out, the covenant has been sealed. You know what I'm talking about? That means each person that was born of her, whether it was Abel, whether it was Seth, all the way down the line, they were sealed. They were sealed. Now you see how that backed that up with the life of continual and eternal that we looked at Wednesday? And in the word that we looked at there, and in the consume and destroy, because Adam had to be destroyed, the deep sleep, in order for the covenant to be sealed. The way you could go from being a living Nephilim to being quickened by the Ruach. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? I'll take that silence as a yes. Hebrews 9-15. Make it 14. Yeah, that's going to work out well now, because now we finish transition over here to this, transition over to the overcome. I won't even hit the lamad on the Ibra math, because the lamad is in the yakal that we about to look at, which is the Hebrew word for overcome. Y'all hear me? And we're going to look at every reward, and we're going to look at every reward in the book of Revelation, y'all willing, that deals with what you're going to get for overcoming. And we're going to look at what's going to allow you to overcome. Because we looked at the living Nephilim, right? and we looked at how those things pertain, right? I pray that everybody's got a proper understanding from it. If not, I'm going to tell y'all this here one more time. God, I've said it before. When I ask y'all, do y'all understand anything? That's because I really am genuinely concerned and want to know if you understand everything. But then also, just like I mentioned, like I said, we hit that Psalm 51. I explained it in a little bit more detail in the text message that I sent divided when she asked. You know what I'm saying? But I said that I would work it in. But since I explained it to her in depthly right then, I didn't go through all that with y'all. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all got a question about anything, you know what I'm saying? Don't be sitting around wondering. You better go ahead and ask it. You know what I'm talking about? Especially before things get real crunk up where I won't be able to respond back quickly as I usually do. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ask me a question about the word, I usually will respond back rather quickly. You know what I'm saying? Ain't going to be no 2-3 days. You know what I'm saying? Right then. So don't be sitting around wondering. You know what I'm talking about? You might as well just go ahead. It ain't no big deal if you call me and be like, hey, I got a question about this here. Can you explain? Most of y'all know I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Most of y'all know I'm going to do it because I've done it. You know what I'm saying? Whether you call, whether you text. Don't be sitting around here wondering about stuff and then it fall out your brain. You don't get the answer you're looking for. Some of y'all be having questions about stuff and then the Most High end up answering it for you without you even asking too. You know what I'm saying? I understand if you want to take that track as well. You know what I'm talking about? But if you got a question in your head, don't be sitting around and be scared to ask it. Verse 14. He say, how much more shall the blood of Mashiach, who through the eternal Ruach offered himself without spot to Elohim, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living Elohim? Why this man blood ain't purging you from dead works? Why you still doing the same stupid, retarded stuff? How is this possible? For where a testament is, there must also of a necessity be the death of the testator. For the testament is of force after men are dead, otherwise it is of no strength at all what a testator live. Do you see that Eve was no strength at all till Adam died? She couldn't have had no strength at all till he died. He say whereupon neither the first testament was dedicated without blood. For when Moses spoke in every precept to all the people according to the Torah, he took the blood of calves and of goats, and with water and scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and all the people, saying, this is the blood of the testament which Elohim have adjoined unto you. Do you not realize that when he pulled that woman out his side, blood came out and for that to seal that covenant? Then he sealed it back up, and then he said, this is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, and a man will leave his father and his mother and cleave in joy to his wife. Covenant. You know what I'm saying? This is the new covenant right there in your face. That man was showing you that in the story of Adam and Eve. And you know what the word part is? It's a whole lot of people miss that stuff, man. So a whole lot of people can't see this. I'm going to tell you something real. If we were to go in front of most Hebrew Israelites and talk about this here, not because I think I'm so smart or so great, they would fight us down and say that it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? This man, for whatever reasons known unto Yahuwah, he trying to give us an understanding that we might do the same thing what happened with Adam and Eve, that we might be enjoined to Mashiach and become one and enter into that covenant with him to be flesh of his flesh and bone of his bones. Y'all got to understand that. You know what I'm saying? This is why he's showing this to us. He's not showing this to us just for informational purposes or for us to feel like we so great or we know something. He's showing this to us so that we might follow that same pattern of behavior and become joined and live. That's the purpose. He's showing us this so that we will no longer be carnal, because carnal mind is enmity against Elohim. So therefore your sins or iniquities, like Isaiah 59 say, is going to keep you separated from him. Because his ear is not heavy that he cannot hear, and his arm is not short that he cannot save. But once you go from being carnal to being ruach, then guess what ends up happening? You draw near to Elohim, and Elohim will draw near unto you, and you will become one with him and have eternal life and dwell with him forever. That's the objective. What else is we doing this for? We doing this for just to put some videos up on YouTube? Just to say we doing something? That's not why we doing this. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing it. We're doing this for one reason and one reason alone. Eternal salvation. If eternal salvation ain't really your priority, then keep fulfilling your flesh and go to hell. If eternal salvation is your priority, resist your flesh and be ye saved. That's the bottom line. That's the option. There is no gray area. Fulfill the flesh and die. Resist the flesh and live. The choice is yours. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and look at it, you know, I see people post that meme all the time. But that is probably about the only thing that got some truth to it. And a lot of that stuff like this here, as forth as some of the word go. Say don't deal with somebody. Say if you're going to deal with somebody who speak to your ruach. If a person not speaking to your spirit, what you dealing with them for? And I ain't talking about that spirit, that worldly stuff they talking about. I'm talking about that inward man, how you strengthen to save your soul. What you dealing with them for? You know, the book say walk with wise men, a man will be wiser. How am I get wisdom from a carnal individual? How am I going to get wisdom from somebody who can only fulfill my flesh? I can sit down with a lot of businessmen on a lot of things and I can get some wisdom, but that's not wisdom that's going to minister to my ruach. It's just going to be wisdom that ministers to my flesh. It's going to be wisdom of the world. What profit am I going? I'm going to get some profit from it business-wise, but that's the only factor that I would deal with them for. Why would I be friends with people that could only minister to my flesh? That's all you could do is make me feel good emotionally. I don't want to feel good emotionally. I could have stayed in the world for that. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel good inwardly in my ruach. I could have stayed in the world for that. Emotions are deceitful. Do you know what I'm saying? They are very deceitful. That's why you say the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Because the heart is a living nephesh. It's the seat of emotions and passions. That's why you got to make you a new heart, which is a heart of flesh after Mashiach. That's a heart that is eternal and after the Ruach. That is not deceitful. That's why the book say he that trusteth in his heart is a fool. He that trusts in his emotions is an idiot. This is what your God tell you. You trust in your emotions in your own mind. That man say you are stupid. That's powerful right there. Because he say, who have had the mind that he instructed him? He said, we had the mind of Mashiach. So if we got the mind of Mashiach, then we have a wise mind because we got the mind of Elohim. Total difference. We got the heart of Elohim. Total difference. It's night and day. You understand what I'm saying? It's night and day. Light and darkness. Straight up and down. We have to consider that. You have to weigh that out. Because I'm telling y'all this stuff for a reason. The man trying to save you. He trying to save you. Some of y'all going to hear it and some of you not. You know what I'm saying? The man is trying to save you. The man say those whom he love, he chasten and rebuke. So if he's chastening you with the word, he cutting you with the word, it's to save you. Because you can't save yourself. You know what you want? You know the one thing y'all try to do? Save us from ourselves. Because he know we are our own worst enemy. He try to save you from yourself. But a lot of times you don't want to be saved from yourself. You rather wallow in your iniquity and perish in it. And y'all say, I have no pleasure in the death of him that died, but yet a man turned himself and lived. He can't make you do it. He wants you to do it more than anything on this earth. You're the apple of his eye. You're the seed of Yasharal. More than anything, he will want every last seed of Yasharal to be saved. But he knows it's not going to be so. He knows it's not going to be so. Because most don't want to be saved because they don't feel like they are worthy to be saved. They don't know why would y'all love me? Why? Now, instead of asking, why would he love you? Why won't you ask the question, why wouldn't he? You know what I'm saying? Instead of asking, why would y'all love you and choose you to be saved, ask yourself, why wouldn't he choose me to be saved? I'm from the stock of the prophets. I'm from the stock of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal. Why wouldn't he love me? Why wouldn't he save me? You got to remember what lineage you come from. You come from righteous, upright men. You come from warriors. You know what I'm saying? You come from stand-up individuals, wise men, men who slayed kingdoms with just the word Elohim. Men who slayed kingdoms just through faith in Elohim. You come from the lineage of Daniel, standing in the lion's den with no fear. Huh? That's where you come from. You know what I'm saying? Now, I mean, I'm re-rolling a little long. I want to get into some of these men who were warriors. You know what I'm talking about? But you got to look at that. You got to weigh that out in your brain. You come from a seed of warriors. Yo, Elohim say he a man of war. So guess what that means you come from? You come from a lineage of fighters. That's what y'all don't realize. That's why true Yahudim don't quit. That's why he say even in the darkest night, I'm Yahudim for life. I got the heart to fight. We are not cowards. We are not quitters. We are fighters. We are warriors. And you ain't got to just be no warrior with no sword or no gun in your hand. Nobody said weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual, pulling down a stronghold. You come from a lineage of strong people. These people been trying to kill you for 400 years and ain't been able to do it. These people gave you AIDS, they gave you crack, they gave you guns, they gave you liquor, they test syphilis on you, they beat you, they raped you, they still couldn't get rid of you. They still can't get rid of it. They still trying to figure out ways to kill you. And they can't do it. These people sit back and look at that any other race of people would have been folded up through what we done endured and had to go through, and we still standing. Man, you think white people could have put up with the conditions we've been under? You think Asians and Arabs and Africans could have put up with what we've been under? These people ain't had nobody systematically count on their demise from the day that they met them. These people have been systematically strategizing on your demise from the day that you met them. And you know what the word part is? You niggas try to beat them with guns and with stupid stuff instead of beating them with your brain. These people smart, they plot and strategize. But you know what niggas do? Niggas don't plot and strategize. And you know another thing niggas don't do? They don't come together. They try to do everything dolo. They try to do everything dolo. I don't need no help. Or they pick and choose who they gonna fool with instead of coming together. If you come together and we strategize, there's no way these people can stop us, man. And you ain't together. You ain't on one accord, you ain't together. Because everybody got their own agenda. Everybody want to do the same thing. You right now, everybody want to do the same thing. I want to do my thing. I want to do my thing. That's all you hear come up out of Yasharal. I, me. It's never us, we. You know what I'm saying? We don't think like that. Because all we care about is what I got going on. What I got, I don't care that white people don't think like, go look at them Jewish people in New York and DC, they don't operate like that. That's why you go in New York City, man, you go in DC, man, you see them Jewish people got all manner of stuff all up and down the street. On everything. How all their people? You know what I'm talking about? Because they going to link up. They going to put all that stuff to the side, but we got to get their money, take care of each other. You see Asian people, they come over here, they do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because they going to roll. We got a common goal. We are a family. We lock, stock, and barrel together. We don't operate like that. Because it's always about I. Niggas so shocked at hearing somebody saying we or want to do something without nothing in return, niggas don't know how to act. Because niggas already know 9 times, because I know from being in the street, I already know, boy, nigga agrees you up. Niggas see you like certain things, niggas know you like to do certain things, niggas gonna do that to play up under you. I done seen it too many times. That's why I be like this, I don't be all that flattery, telling me how nice I am, how great I am, or want to give me this. I don't trust that. I done seen niggas lose their life behind that. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust it. And it might not even be nothing behind it by whoever doing it. But I'm still skeptical. I don't trust that. Because I know a nigga smile in your face and be plotting to kill you. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm talking about? But not a nigga got an I mentality even without nigga plotting to kill you. Because niggas just selfish. Y'all know how niggas is. Nigga borrowed money from a nigga and talk trash when he pay a nigga his money back. They got to ask you to borrow it. You know what I'm saying? Niggas got the mind of a nigga supposed to do something for you.
Michael.
You know what I'm saying? Like a nigga owe you something. You know what I'm talking about? A nigga feel like if a nigga tell you no, you gotta get like, I done been in this situation with somebody. Many people like, boy, I asked you to do something, you say you can't do it. Nigga, you ain't gotta explain nothing to me. I ain't gonna keep asking you to do it. You said no, that's good enough for me. Like I told you before, I quoted Trick Daddy on to tell you again. And they say, well, if I ain't got it, I ain't your dog no more. He said, well, if that's the case, I ain't got it then. But that's how black people roll though. You can't do something for them, you ain't my friend no more. I don't mess with you no more. That nigga acting funny, man. I had that nigga $20. You don't know what this man got to do. You know what I'm saying? You ask somebody with something he can't do, you give me a ride, I ain't gonna be able to do it. All right. You ain't got to say no more. You know what black people get used to? Explaining why they can't do something because they always used to a nigga saying why you can't do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to tell me why you can't do it. That's good enough, man. You straight. I don't know what niggas got going on. Especially when you know people got families and all that stuff. You don't know what people got going on. That's why I usually don't ask a nigga for nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Because I know people got stuff going on. But you know, as black people, especially dealing with the world, we're supposed to be able to come to each other for anything. Ain't nowhere in the world we should have to go to a center first. Ain't no way in the world we should be going to sinners first. Ain't no way in the world we should seek comfort from a sinner before we seek comfort from a Kadeshim. How that work? How we seek strength from a transgressor and a non-believer before I seek from a believer. That's how backwards we is in these days and times.
Be quiet.
That's how backwards we are. And you know what make us backwards like that? Carnal mind. You know what I'm saying? That's not how the thing's supposed to go. There is no way in the world I would seek comfort from a sinner before I seek comfort from a brother or sister in the world. There is no way I would seek strength from a sinner
Sit down and turn around.
before I seek one from somebody who's in fellowship with Mashiach. That doesn't make sense to me. Not reading the word, because I don't see any righteous man in this book doing that. I don't read any of them doing that. So if I don't read them doing it, I'm not doing it. Nevertheless, come over here to 1 John 4:18. Make it 17. Man, come on, all that crying, all that moaning like an old black woman at a funeral. I do how you sound. Jimmy dead. I can't take it. And they say, you know how niggas love to go to the funeral and play out, take me, Lord, take me. Like I said, one of these days he gonna take one of you niggas.
You know that hard work.
You gonna be in there showing out, take me, Lord, take me. You might say, oh, it's all my nigga took Grandma. She asked for it. You know what I'm saying? 1 John 4:17. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. The only way you're going to have boldness in the day of judgment, you're going to have to be as Mashiach was in this present world. He was an overcomer. He had no fellowship with iniquity. He showed no appearance of evil. You know what I'm talking about? He had faith and confidence in Elohim. He stood on that. He lived clean. He lived set apart. He sanctified himself from the world. He came out from among them and was separate. Now, how you going to have boldness in the day of judgment if you're not doing that? He was not a living soul. He was a quickening ruach. That's why he had boldness when he came up and down that state. What you know what he said on that state? And Luke 24, if I'm not mistaken, or 23, that man say, Abba, in thy hands, I commend my ruach. Why could he do that? Because he knew he was going to be judged righteously. He was bold enough to do it. He was bold enough to do it. Because as his father was, he was. You just sit back and look at that. A lot of y'all ain't. See, you know what comes with boldness? You know what you got to have some boldness? You know what you got to have some boldness? In the word. What's the first? For you to be bold in the word, what you got to have? You got to have confidence. You got to have that immunity. You got to have that faith. A lot of y'all ain't bold because you ain't got that faith. Hey, listen. He said there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear hath torment. He that fear is not made perfect in love. You're not completing the love of Mashiach if there's fear in your heart. That means your faith is not perfect. He said the law of Yahuwah is perfect, converting the soul. In order for your soul to be converted, you got to be made perfect. To be made perfect, you got to have a concrete amunah, faith. It's got to be. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ready to look at this overcoming? Let me sit back and tell y'all the characters that y'all need to write down. The word is your call. The word is Y. Y'all hear me? The word is Y, A, K, L. You could put another 8 there if you would like. I mean, I know in that modern version that we looked at for when it did it had an O there. Of course, you know, Brother Corey let us know there are no O's in our language. So therefore, that's why it is spelled Y, A, K, L. You know what I'm saying? The word means, for definition for everybody, y'all ready? It means to prevail, overcome, endure, have power, be able to gain or accomplish, be able to endure, be able to reach, prevail over or against, be victor, to have ability, have strength. So when we look at overcoming, to have strength, you know what you got to have? Faith. Right? Because trust ye in y'all forever, for trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength, right? So for you to be able to overcome, you're going to have Isaiah 26, 3-5 in your heart, or 3-4 in your heart. You ain't got that. You're not going to overcome. So the first character we have here, let me find it escapes my mind. The first character we have on here is Yod. Numerical value of 10, ladies and gentlemen. That is a closed hand, dead, work to make on. That is the first character that we have. Obviously, the next character we have is the Aleph. 1 numerical value. And you know that's the ox, bull, strength, leader, and first. And the last character we have is the Lamad, which is the cattle, the good, the staff, to teach, or lead, prod, go forward, tongue, shepherd. And the numerical value that we get out of this is 41. And what do we get? We get the mean, which is chaos, blood, water, overpower. And then also again, we get the Aleph again. Did everybody get that? Do I need to say it again to anybody who missed it? I would appreciate if anybody who missed it would speak up and let that be known.
You said characters again?
It was Yod, Aleph, Lamar,
I got the cape. Yeah.
and Aleph again.
You need to out. Say that again.
No, she.
Who said that? You said that, Lee? You said that, Lamar?
Yeah, I
Oh.
just needed the characters again.
We got the Yod, the Aleph, and the
Lamar,
Lamar.
and Aleph.
And then the Aleph, the meme, and the Aleph again. Yeah, I did leave that K out.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, I just like, cause I ain't turned back around. Yeah, the cough. My apologies on that. That's gonna change that that numerical value. What's the numerical value for that cough? Cause I don't see that on my paper. What's the numerical value you got for that cough?
I want to say 100.
Huh?
Hold on. I don't have one at all.
She said 3. That'll make it 44. So that'll change that Aleph. That'll make it the dollar. So that'll be the meme and the dollar on the for the Ibra math. The dollar would be the door pathway into enter. So insert that cough after the Aleph. My apologies on that. I had
The
that
first one?
Yeah, on that you call that cough. Put that in there. It'll be the third character.
Can you do it over again?
Yeah.
Start over.
Okay.
Yod,
We got the Yod. But ladies and gentlemen, we got the Yod, which is closed hand, dead, work to make on, numerical value of 10. We have the Aleph, which is the ox, bull, strength, leader, and first. The numerical value is 1. Then we have the Kaf, which is to arm, wing, open hand, to cover, allow, strength, rock, and hollow. And that is a numerical value of 3. And then we have the Lamad, which is the cattle, good, staff, teach, lead, prod, go forward, shepherd, tongue. Numerical value of 30. So that comes out to a numerical value of 44. And we have the mean, which is the chaos, the water, the blood, and to overpower. And then we have the Daleth, which is the door, the pathway, and to enter, which will be the numerical value of 4. Everybody good? We good, everybody? Everybody on the phone? Everybody good? One more time just to make sure. Everybody good? All right. All right. So now let's go ahead and look at this dead work to make an arm. So now we're going to look at something, right, to be able to overcome. Let's look at Romans chapter 6 to be able to overcome. Because now we got to sit back and look at how we're going to be able to overcome. Hold on, before I even look at Romans chapter 6 and look at how overcome, let's go to Revelation chapter 2. I want y'all to hear every reward that you will receive for overcoming. Hey man, hey. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 7. I want y'all to make sure y'all highlight this here, man. We looking at overcoming. Everything that deal with overcoming, that's what you're going to get, right? He said, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogue. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. So you know what I need y'all to do?
Hey, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this the
Hold on.
cough right here. Ain't it? Said it's probably 20.
Pick that chip up. Pick that cracker up.
No, that's not. Yeah, he got that on there, but that's not what I was looking at. It's not at all.
That's 20.
Yeah, he got the new man, but that ain't the character I got on there. At least mine don't look like that. I think Troy can this one here.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
Troy
that's
can
what
mine.
it's called.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Got that to the top.
It is
I definitely see a numerical value of 20.
Michael, sit down.
Daddy.
No.
We gotta go back.
Oh, go potty.
Daddy.
Sit down somewhere, boy.
I'm going to the bathroom, man.
Oh, you going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's look at Isaiah 51 and 3 and hold this Revelation 2 and 7.
Daddy.
So if you're able to overcome, you're going to have right to the tree of life in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. You need to see what the midst of the paradise of Elohim is. I got too much stuff in my head, and I knew I wasn't going to hit all this stuff tonight. Because I already knew, looking at enduring hardness and warring and overcoming the world like the men I mentioned, y'all, Gideon and David and Jephthah and Samson, that's a whole sermon in itself, to be dead honest. I might try to use a couple of them for an example, but I don't know why I be having all that stuff in my head and think I'm going to be able to hit all of it. 51 and 2 is even better. Matter of fact, 51 and 1, because, what did I just read what I said? It was a rock. That was the dollar, right? No, I just read something that said something. Just read something that said something that a hollow or a rock or overpower. That was the cough. The cough now, right? Says it means to rock or hollow. You know what the rocks are, right? Strong, right?
Appreciate it.
Hearken unto me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek Yahuwah. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn. So you need to look to the cough of whence you were hewn. Now you know why this is important now that I sit back and I think about it, the rock which you were hewn. Maybe I can get a little bit of this stuff that I was looking at. Let's go look at Gideon. Hold the Revelation chapter 2 verse 7. I'm going to get to it. But this man say, let's go look at the rock which you were hewn. We need to go look at Judges chapter 6 real quick. Do any of you brothers and sisters know what the name Gideon means?
Yeah, warrior.
That's one of them. 6 and 11 of Judges. Any of you brothers and sisters on the phone know what Gideon's name means? Nobody?
Just said it.
I'm not
Oh.
sit on the phone. Go ahead.
My bad. I know I just said it.
It means two things, a hewer and a warrior. You know what a hewer does?
Probably fight.
I mean, you hewn into pieces, you cut things up. Or why you say, look from the rock which you were hewn, or the rock which you were cut from. Or like the term that people like to say, I'm cut from a different cloth. You know what I'm saying? That's what y'all supposed to be sitting back looking at it. You from the seed of Yasharai, you supposed to know you cut from a different cloth. You not like these people, but yet you want to be like these people. Makes no sense to me. 6 and 11. It says, and there came a Malachim of Yahuwah and sat under an oak which was in Orpah, that pertained unto Joash the Abizarite. And his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the Malachim of Yahuwah appeared unto him and said unto him, Yahuwah is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. Gideon said unto him, O my master, if Yahuwah be with us, why then is all this befallen us? Where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, did not Yahuwah bring us up out from Mizraim? But now Yahuwah hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hand of the Midianites. What does that sound like to y'all?
Why is I forsaken me?
What that sound like to y'all? On the phone. Somebody. I'm talking about according to Mashiach. Because ain't too many of our people even asking why God forsaken us, because most of our people don't even care. That's where that come from. Because he say, if y'all be with us, where the miracles at? Where the signs and wonders at? This is what Mashiach think about on the stake. Where the signs and wonders at? Why you done left me alone? Hold on. He said, Yahuwah looked upon him and said, Go in this thy night and thy might, and thou shalt save Yasharal from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? You heard what he told him? When he told him to go. In thy might, right? That he might save him, right? You'll realize that he actually strengthened who? Mashiach in his might, that he might save Yasharal from the Midianites. Now let's sit back and look at something. Let me see what, because something just come out. Let's see what Midian name means. Because we know one thing, right? He came to save us from the power of the captivity that we were under of Satan. He came to destroy him who had the power over death, that is the devil. Who all those who lived in fear, who were subject to bondage, right? Don't y'all realize this man came to destroy the Midianites or destroy sin because you were all your lifetime subject to it, but yet you don't want to be free from it. But yet you don't want to be free from your bondage. This man came to hew you out of it, and you trying to stay in it. Let's find that verse for the Midianite. Well, I can just look at Midian. Here we go. Y'all bear with me.
Michael.
Well, we got a lot of stuff to look at in the next few days, I see.
Go back over there.
And you know what Midian means? It means strife. That's what it means. It means strife. Now, who came to cause strife? Satan did, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
How did he come to cause strife? When you got strife, that means you got enmity, you got war going on. He come to, that's what we were looking at in Romans chapter 8. He came to save you from the strife of the flesh, from that war, to make a discharge in that battle. You know what I'm saying? This is what the warrior coming to do, to cause a discharge. Let's look at verse 17 though. And he said unto him, if now have I found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talk with me. Depart not hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee and bring forth my present and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. Gideon went in and made ready a kid and unleavened cakes of ephah of flour. The flesh he put in a basket. He put the broth in a pot. He brought it out unto him under the oak and presented it. What does that sound like to you? Anybody on this phone, what that sound like to you? Yeah, what that sound like?
Feast.
Sound like a feast, but look what he told him. He made ready a kid or a goat, right? Got some unleavened cakes and he brought it under a well. A tree. That's what an oak is, right? He brought it there to offer it.
Be quiet.
And the Malachim of Elohim said unto him, take the flesh and the unleavened cakes and lay them upon this rock and pour out the broth. And he did so. Then the Malachim of Yahuwah put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes. And there rose up fire out of the rock and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the Malachim of Yahuwah departed out of his sight. He laid the sacrifice on a rock. Now he told you to look unto the rock of which you were hewn, or the rock which you were cut from. And you see the hewer laying a sacrifice on a rock. You know what I'm talking about? Now why would he be able to do this here? Because he was showing Gideon that once you do this here, you'll be able to overcome strife. Now come over here and look at John chapter 16 and 7. Then we'll come back and look at Romans chapter 7. To show you how to, because a warrior is usually what? Victorious, right? See, he called him a mighty man of valor, right? Know what a mighty man is, right? That's a warrior. You know what a man who has valor is? That's a man who's strong. You know what I'm saying?
Leave it alone.
16 and 7, I suppose. Y'all follow me this evening? Y'all extra quiet. I hope y'all ain't sleep slobbing on your receiver. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. Of sin, because they believe not on me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father and you see me no more. Of judgment, because the prince of this world is judged. Now he just say, show me a sign, right? That you're going to allow me to overtake these people. He was sitting back telling them, if he goes away and he gets killed and all these things happen, then the prince of this world is going to be judged. The ruler of the Midianite was going to be judged. Where did the strife come in at? The strife come from the devil, because he come to steal, kill, and destroy. He causing you to be in enmity against the Most High. This is what he's trying to have you do consistently. Fighting against Yah. Romans chapter 7. Then we come back to Isaiah 51, still holding Revelation 2 and 7. What did the Mashiach tell you? If a man heard his words and kept them, what did he say he likened you to? He said he likened you to a man who built his house upon a rock. You know what I'm saying? He laid in Zion a chief cornerstone, a sure foundation. That's why he say if Yahuwah don't build the house, the builders build in vain. So you got to sit back and look at everything you doing to be able to overcome. Are you building it on the rock or are you building it on sand? I think a lot of y'all building stuff on sand because you're doing what you want to do. And you hoping Yahuwah going to come behind and stamp it later. not knowing he's setting you up for a great fall. You know what I'm saying? He said that house that's built on sand, he said when it fall, great is the fall of it. And you know what he doing right now? Just what the words say. Say pride and warning. Warning come before destruction. Before that man take you down, he gonna warn you. Like I remember somebody telling me that another person said that, you know, I let people crash and burn. To let somebody crash and burn, you gotta warn them first. You gotta warn them first. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing you see somebody and you don't warn them. It's another thing I don't warn you. Because one thing about y'all, he ain't going to keep warning you. He ain't going to keep telling you. He going to tell you, maybe, he might tell you 2 times. He might tell you 6 times. After a while, he going to stop telling you. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're being stubborn. You're being an idolater. It's easier for you to go do what you want. So since it's easier for you to go do what you want, I'm going to let you get what you want. That's why he say, make yourself a fool that you may be wise, because he knows the thoughts of men, they vanity. What did I just ask for?
Romans chapter 7.
I got Alzheimer's set me in, boy. Next thing I know, I ain't gonna remember my name.
Ready?
Somebody gonna have to take me to the bathroom.
Look this way.
Not yet.
I knew he was gonna say that.
What is that?
that?
Hey man, just don't put me in any kind of hole then.
You gotta hire somebody.
Hire somebody.
Sure, you got
I ain't got nobody.
you know somebody who take care of you.
Shoot, she ain't gonna do it.
Sure, come dog. Y'all get paid for it anyway.
And they gonna turn that money down in the house. So you just keep your money. I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? 7:16. Or 7:15. He say, for that which I do, I allow not. For what I would that do, I not. But what I hate, that do I. If I then do that which I would not, I consent that the Torah it is good. Now that it is no more I that do it, but the sin that dwell in me. For I know that in me that is in my flesh dwell no good thing, for to dwell is present with me. But how to perform that which is good, I find it not. For the good that I would, I do not. But the evil which I would not, that I do. Now that if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but the sin that dwell in me. I find then a Torah that when I would do good, evil is present with me. And you turn around and look at it, you know, he was sitting back threshing wheat to be able to hide it to the Midianites because of the strife. And he wanted to do good, but it was hard for him to be able to do good because evil was present with them because they were in captivity to these people. You know what I'm saying? So then he gave him a sign of a sacrifice to be able to sit back and say that this warrior, you will hew these people down and defeat them and deliver your people out of their hand. You know what I'm talking about? This is what Mashiach did up there on the stake. He was a sign. He was that very goat, that very unleavened cake that put up under that oak and struck with fire. And that's what he wanted. And why did he do all these things? Because you'll be the one to deliver my people from the Midianites. You'll deliver them from the strife. You'll deliver them from the battle. You'll deliver them from the hand of their oppressor. So then when we sit back and look at that, when we come back to Isaiah 51, you need to look at the rock which you were hewn from. See, we're going to look at Gideon in a deeper level. I've been holding Gideon back for about 3 months.
Stop.
Because I've been wanting to talk about Gideon for a long time. Just ain't got in that direction.
No.
So when we come back to Isaiah 51:1, and it says, hearken unto me, ye that follow after righteousness. That's why he say, my sheep hear my voice. If you hearken after a Munah, you gonna hearken to the man, you gonna listen. Ye that seek Yahuwah, look unto the rock whence you are hewn, and to the hole of the pit which you are digged. So that means, guess what? You need to look back to the grave then, don't you? We already been talking about dying. And which one of these characters mean that? And that's the first one. The first character, Yah, dead. Now we'll go look at Romans chapter 6. We'll pick it up about verse 16. We'll come back to Isaiah 51. So if you're going to overcome, guess what you got to do? You got to look to the rock. You got to be built on the rock. You got to be built on the word to overcome. And then you got to die. And you're going to have to work after you die. And you're going to have to make an arm. And we know who that arm is. All these things is going to lean back to you grabbing on Mashiach for you to overcome. You're not going to overcome your flesh walking around here with this stupid junk you've been trying. You trying every way to overcome except the way the man told you to do. That man told you to look to the Mashiach and look to the grave where he came up out of. 6 and 16. Romans 6 and 16. He say, know ye not that to whom you yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. If you lend yourself to the flesh, you are a slave to the flesh. Therefore you obey the flesh. You lend yourselves over to the Ruach, then you are a servant of the Ruach, and therefore you are a slave to it. Which one are you a slave to? Are you slave to life or are you slave to death?
That's how I hate you.
He say, but being then made free from sin, you became the servants of righteousness. So that means when you died, which we already talked about in Mashiach, freeing us from the law and purging our conscience from dead works because he offered himself without spot, which goes right back to what we're looking at with Gideon. You know what I'm talking about? Him being a hewer, or him sit back being a warrior, offering his sacrifice, foreshadowing to the greatest warrior of them all. Then you're going to have to turn around and do the same thing for you to be able to overcome. You got to sit back and look at, every time you look at Yod for the next few days, maybe the next few weeks, maybe the next few months, that means you need to be sitting back thinking about, I need to be dead. Most of y'all have been immersed in Mashiach, but yet you still alive. But you claim that you dead. You're not alive to Elohim. You alive to yourself. You just went and got wet. Why? What was the purpose of that? Why didn't you die? Are you going to wait to die when he actually take his breath from you? That when you going to die? Why won't you die before then? I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmity of your flesh. For as you have yielded your members servants to uncleanness and to iniquity unto iniquity, even so now yield your members servants to righteousness unto Kadesh. For when you were the servants of sin, you were free from righteousness. What fruit had ye in those things whereof you are now ashamed? For the end of those things is death. But now being made free from sin and become servants to Elohim, you have your fruit unto Kadesh, and the end everlasting life. If you got your fruit unto Kadesh, guess what that means? You would look to the hole with which you would dig. You know what happened when Mashiach came up out of there. What was he? First fruits, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 15. He said he raised Mashiach out of the grave to do what? For to be a savior and a prince, to give repentance to Yasharal, that you might have fruit to everlasting life. But you got to die with him, though. You got to do like that man that got through in the grave with Elisha. You got to die with him to be quickened with him. Remember what we looked at in Numbers a few weeks back. Let me die the death of the righteous and let my end be like his. But you don't want to die the death of the righteous. 1 Corinthians 15 and 19. If in this life we have hope in Mashiach, we are all of men most miserable. But now is Mashiach risen from the dead and became the first fruits of them that slept. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead. For as in Adam all died, even so in Mashiach shall all be made alive. Now he said hand. What can you sit back and think about? We done looked at with hand before. What did Mashiach say by hand? What did he say about what was in his hand? No, I'm talking about he said something was in his hand, not actually literally like what happened to his hand. Let's look at John chapter 10. Okay, I need to frame that right so you can understand what I'm talking about.
I've got the whole thing. He is his right hand.
Absolutely. I mean, all that there. Yeah, he's at his right hand. He's the arm of Yahuwah. All these
You know the
things.
whole song. You got the whole world in his hand.
Yeah, that was for the read to you too. John 10 and 25.
That's what I was thinking.
He said, Yahusha answered them, and I told you, and you believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you believe not, because you are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. This is going to the Lamar now. You know what I'm talking about? Because he's a shepherd. His sheep hear his voice. You know why they sheep hear his voice? Because he's Lamar, because of the tongue. What do you use the tongue for but to speak? Which goes back to what we were looking at when we look at the Nephash, which is the part, which is the mouth, to open the word. He's saying, I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. Nobody can take him out of his hand.
That's it.
You know why can't nobody take him out of his hand? Because they overcome us.
Michael.
They overcome us. How is anybody going to be able to pluck out those who got faith in him? How is that possible? That can only happen when your faith is minimal. Most people's faith is extremely small. This is why they have no growth. You know, a lot of people sit back and they look at the person who they hearing the word from, gonna get. You remember we looked at John chapter 6? It was a whole bunch of people following Mashiach. And what he ended up telling them is some of y'all here that believe not. And they stopped following him after that. And they were following the son of Elohim, and they didn't hold on to the word. And it wasn't for no other reason, because there was no faith in them. When you ain't got no faith in you, it doesn't matter who's saying the word to you. You're not going to receive it. You know what I'm saying? That's what separates the men from the mice and the sheep from the goats. You know what I'm saying? The weak from the strong. The cowards from the heroes. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up and down. Like no exaggeration, not trying to be funny or nothing. That's the separation. That's why he say the just shall live by faith. It's faith what separates. It's faith that separates. It's faith that separates. It's faith that's going to have you justified with Yahuwah. That's what many people don't possess. We beseech you to possess that. I'm talking about an undying, unwavering faith, trust, and hope in Yahuwah. Not just you feel like your faith got strengthened because you heard a word and it sounded real lovely, but afterwards your heart, say with your mouth you show much love, but your heart go after your lusts, your desires, your appetites, your passions. Because they will hear your words, but they will not do them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really trust in Yahuwah, you would move. You would move. You would move. So, come on back to Isaiah 51. Let me finish this out.
Michael, okay, chill out.
Well, I obviously won't be able to touch, I might be and just continue it on, because I do want to hit what I had in my mind to hit for tomorrow, but that's going to be so long and drawn out that it might be better served that if I don't finish everything I want to hit tonight, you know what I'm talking about, and just complete it, then y'all will hit it next year when we got more time. Because I want to talk to y'all about fulfilling the law of Mashiach, bearing each other's burdens, and y'all know I don't even want to even skimp that one. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to skimp that one. I don't even want to rush it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take my time with that one down. I'm going to walk that down. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to walk that one down. And we're going to take every single word that applies to family in the word, and we're going to walk that down. That's one thing that each and every last one of y'all got to understand. Do you not realize if you don't bear each other's burdens that you actually are committing sin? Because that man say to bear the burdens, bear each other's burdens to fulfill the law of Mashiach. So if y'all allows me to actually go through the law and show you somebody else bearing each other's burdens and you don't do it, you could go to hell for that. Because he said that's the instruction of Mashiach. That means that's a commandment. That means you supposed to do that. Ain't no solo dolo, I got my own stuff I'm dealing with. I don't care about what you dealing with. Ain't no none of that. Not if you say you a Yahudim, not if you say you Kadeshim, not if you say you a son or daughter of Elohim. You ain't a Mashiach doing that. Because I'm going to put it to you like this here. Every last one of y'all take your burdens to Mashiach every day. And he carrying. He actually carried your burdens on his shoulder when he had that stake on it. And you can't carry your brothers. You can't carry your sisters. What type of junk is that? What type of junk is that? You know what that is? That's selfishness. That's not a y'all. You got to carry that. Because he carried yours. If you're going to be like Mashiach, then walk like him then. Because he carried yours. And we supposed to be members one of another, so you supposed to carry each other's. That's why I'm telling you, it don't make no sense for none of y'all to go to no sinner, no worldly person, for to carry your burdens before you go to one of your brothers and sisters. That means you can't be a y'all, you can't trust him, and you can't be of his body, because how would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. You're going to go to somebody outside the house. Mashiach didn't go to people outside the house to carry their burdens. He carried the burdens of those that were in the house and instructed us to do so. He said, wash your feet. He said, I'm going to wash your feet. He said, you don't know what I'm doing now, but later you will. After he did it, he said, I did this as an example. He said, if your master and savior washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. He said, blessed are you if you do it. So what's the opposite of bless you? Damn, you don't serve your brother. You damn, you don't carry his burden. Because Mashiach didn't teach you that. The world taught you that. The world talks, I got my own problems. I ain't worried about his. That's not the way of Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? That's truth be told. That's one of the reasons I let y'all see what I was going through so I could be able to work that and show y'all that. That's one of the reasons why I did it, so y'all can see that, to show y'all that. Because sometimes you're going to have to be Simon of Cyrene. Simon came and carried the stake for him when it got too heavy for Mashiach. Even when he was carrying his burden, somebody came through and helped him carry it.
Yes, sir.
But y'all don't see that. That's why you're carnally minded. That's why you're not getting to where you want to go, because you're too concerned about yourself. You don't love your brother, you don't love your sister, so you can't love Mashiach. How you say you love Mashiach and you don't love your brother and sister who you see?
Yes, sir.
Be quiet.
You ain't never seen Mashiach. You ain't never seen the Father. If you love your brother, you love him. He said, if you did it to the least of my brethren, you did it to me. But hey, that's what the word say, man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You don't believe what the word say, that's on you. You know what I'm talking about? Because I know full well, boy, I ain't going to no sinner to carry my burden. Ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't gonna happen. Boy, if I can't go to my own people, or my own body, or my own family to carry it, boy, it just say, I'm going to just carry that dolo then. I ain't going to nobody outside the house about nothing. Not that. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. Straight up and down. You got to start changing your mind. You want to be like Mashiach, then walk like Mashiach. He say, boy, if you're going to be like him, he say, walk as he walk. He say, then that love of Elohim is perfected. You got to walk like he walk. He carried people. This man was finna die and he was still carrying other people's burdens. You niggas ain't going through nothing like that to the point you finna die. Ain't none of us going through nothing to the point where you finna die and this man was still worried about other people. And he was finna die. Ain't nothing none of y'all going through is to the point of death. That give you some perspective right there, man. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe you'll start sitting back and you can emanate that love the way these people will want to follow our Elohim because they see how we love each other. He said, if you love one another, you'll know that you're my disciples. These people don't know we his disciples because we don't love each other. Isaiah 51:2. He said, look unto Abraham your father and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone and blessed and increased him. For Yahuwah shall comfort Zion. You heard what he said? He'll comfort him. So what that comfort is? That's the Ruach, right? So he sitting back looking at comfort in Zion. He going to comfort Mashiach, because Mashiach is Zion. Right? And he's saying he will comfort all her waste places. You know what her waste places is? Those that have been destroyed by the flesh. We just read about it. What fruit did you have in those things where you are now ashamed? But now you got fruit to eternal life through Mashiach. He said he will make her wilderness like Eden and her desert like the garden of Yahuwah. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving in the voice of melody. So he going to make Jerusalem like the garden. How do we know that? We're not going to go read it. You can go read Ezekiel 47. The tree of life is there. Right? That's what the tree of life was in Bereshit, right? We go read Revelation 22. That's New Jerusalem. The tree of life is there. If you're able to die to the flesh, you will be able to partake in that tree of life. You can be able to eat that fruit. You're going to have to stand up and you're going to have to die. And then he say that obviously we know with the carve meaning the out of that rock, and then we looking at dead. Go to Hebrew chapter 4 so we can look at working. Make it 4 and 2. I've been trying to get you where you need to go at. All I'm trying to do is just what that word say with Lamar, be a goal. Motivate you to get to where you want to go. I can't make you get there though. You know what I'm saying? I can't make you get there though. You got to want that from the depths of your soul. You got to want that more than life itself. When I'm talking about life itself, I'm talking about a natural life. Not no natural ice, nigga. A natural life. Do you know what I'm saying? Straight up. Straight up. You got to want that. Deep down. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't want that, man. Man, like I said, I put this up there the other day just to put it up there. You got to be obsessed. If you're going to be successful in anything in life, you got to be obsessed with it. You know what I'm saying? It has to be people have to look at you and think something is absolutely wrong with you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, boy, when it come down to what we trying to do business-wise, nigga obsessed with it. You know what? Because a nigga think about it all day, every day. And when you obsessed with something, you're not going to stop until you're successful. You know what I'm saying? I'm obsessed with lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? I am obsessed with the word. You know what I'm talking about? You got to be obsessed with what you want to be successful with. If you are obsessed about the wrong things, you're not going to be successful. If you're doing something and it's not a crazy obsession, then you're not going to be successful. That's why he said he meditate on the Torah day and night, because you will be obsessed with it. Obsessed with it. It'll be your passion. It will drive you. Just I was talking to T about this here. When I was talking to y'all that day about when y'all came from that real estate class. And then I was saying all that stuff and you were like, that was the same stuff he was saying. And you know, I ain't sat down and looked at no real estate investing, man, real talk, since about probably 2008. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still obsessed with it 8 years later. I was obsessed with it at 17. Like, this is all I want to do. I won't do nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I just got caught up doing things, investing in quality time in places I didn't even need to be. You know what I'm saying? But where I didn't go after that obsession. I got obsessed with selling crack. And that's where my mind was at. And that's all I wanted to do. Because somebody told me, like, I go to the extreme. I don't know no other way to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's either 100 miles an hour or I don't crank up the car. You know what I'm saying? I either go 100 miles an hour or I'm not doing it at all. Because I wasn't taught to halfway do nothing. Chandra and Rosin say, boy, go all in or don't do it at all. Ain't no half step. I half stepped one time in my life. I ain't want to sell dope again. Things got ugly. I ain't find no job. I went back out there. I caught a case. I'll never forget it long as I live, because I kept hearing in my head, put your dope behind the car tire like you always do. I heard it like 3 times. You know what I'm saying? I'm tripping. Like, what? Because I'm set. I just came back from the dog track with my homeboy Chris. We ain't win no money. You know what I'm talking about? Sitting out there, my homeboy Melvin. I was finna go sit in the dope house and get off the little bit of rocks I had left. You know what I'm saying? I ain't lose no money at the dog track now. I ain't win none. I ain't lose none. The reason I ain't lose none, because I ain't bet none. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't win none. He betted some. He ain't win none. You know what I'm talking about? But so I slide outside. My homeboy Melvin out there, man. He's smoking a boom and he drinking a Budweiser. And like I say, I usually slide my dope behind the car tire. We right out there in Justine in the hole. So, you know, it's a circle right there. Like, you could come to one set of them apartments and you can't see the police if they park on this side. They'll walk through the breezeway and catch you on the backside. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we would slide the dope behind the car tire. At least I would. And I keep hearing this in my head. Put your dope behind the car tire. Put your dope behind the car tire. But I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And then, in the midst of that, I literally, y'all's not witness before whom I stand, see myself going through booking. Like I'm standing right there talking to him, and I see myself going through the back door, walking down that hallway, going in that changing room to come out your street clothes and put them greens on. And I'm tripping. About 3-4 minutes later, police come. You know what I'm saying? He like, you got your ID? I'm like, yeah. Hand it to him. He go right in my pocket. Oh, pull out the dope. You know what I'm saying? But he write in his report that he stopped me for open container because Melvin was out there drinking that beer. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have no justification for going in my pocket. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So he had to come up with a legal justification for going in my pocket. But I got jammed like that because I wasn't in 100% crack selling hustler mode because I didn't want to be out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm halfway doing it. I got jammed. Lost 73 days of my life behind that. And caught the felony that ended up making me her habitual offender. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, that was my 3rd felony. You know what I'm saying? When I caught the case that sent me to prison, that gave me number 4 and number 5. You know what I'm talking about? And they used that last one to make me a habitual offender to where I was facing 3 years of life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And where that came from? Half-stepping. Because if I'd have been out there on my regular, I'd have been on my P's and Q's, I would have never even heard put your dope behind the car tire because it would have automatically went there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It would automatically went there. So I go hard in whatever. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. It could be sometimes, you know, I know this here, man, I could be real difficult at times. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that hard. You work through it, you get past it. It don't be that bad. You know what I'm talking about? I know I can be now. You know what I'm talking about? Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to go hard. But if I say I'm going to do something, I'm about something, or I say this what in my head, or this, that, there, I'm dead serious about that, and I'm going to go hard about it. You know what I'm saying? You may not like the level I go with it, but I'm going to give the best of my ability in whatever I'm doing. Whatever success come out of it, thanks be to y'all. Whatever success don't come out of it, thanks be to y'all regardless. But I'm going to give my maximum effort, or I'm not going to do it at all.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what I'm saying? If I'm not going to give maximum effort, I'm not going to do it at all. Period. You know what I'm saying? That's with anything. And that's because I have an obsession. I don't like to fail. You know what I'm saying? But in order to be successful, sometimes you gotta fail. You know what I'm talking about? But you gotta be obsessed in whatever you're doing. If you're not obsessed with saving your soul, you will not be successful. I can guarantee you that. Hamashiach had a sick obsession, so to speak. His obsession was with the pleasing of his Father. His obsession was the saving of his people, which that's the part I didn't hit. With the shaping and iniquity, I meant to hit that, didn't I?
Stop.
You know how you say your mother conceived him in sin? See, all you got to go back to is look at Matthew or Matthew chapter 1, right? When he told her she was going to have a son, and she told him his name, he told her his name would be Yahushua because he would save his people from their sins. Because he was conceived in sin. Because he was conceived by the Ruach HaKodesh in the womb of Mary. Mary was a living Nephi. She was sin. Not that she committed sin, but she was sin because she was in this sinful flesh. So therefore Mashiach was shaping in iniquity. Why? Because he was shaping in the likeness of sinful flesh, which we already read in Romans chapter 8, and conceived in sin. You know what I'm talking about? So then when he arose from the dead, he was shaping in the likeness of true Kadesh or righteousness and conceived in righteousness. Because he was conceived of the Ruach HaKodesh, if you follow me. Y'all follow what I'm talking about? I think y'all, he put that in my head. I slipped my mind to go back to that. But you see how that works? Yah is good and the word is right. We ought to follow. Hebrews 4 and 2. Matter of fact, we ain't got time for that. Hebrews 4 and about 7. He says, again, he limited a certain day, saying in Dawood, today, after so long time, as it is said, today, you hear? Today, if you will hear his voice, Lamar, the tongue, you're going to overcome. You got to hear the man's voice. You got to listen to his words. You got to listen to his words. You're going to overcome now. That's the same thing with a living Nephi. That's what messed up with Adam. He ain't listen to the word. You sit back and look at it. Now we looking at Lamar coming through overcoming. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to hear the words of his mouth. He said, you are not of my sheep as I told you because you believe me not. My sheep hear my voice. Look here, man. Judas sat right there and listened to the word, ain't hear none of it. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all can sit there and be like, boy, you sitting with somebody right now looking at him. They like this here. He's mashallah like this here. Man, I think ain't none of my sheep. That woman ain't none of my sheep. They don't hear my voice. They hear word, but they don't hear me though. You know what I'm talking about?
Get up.
That's the same business. Y'all done seen it. People sat down there with, boy, they don't hear that, man. Y'all done seen it, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all done seen it.
No.
Well, once you done seen that, that'll get you in reality, let you know, boy, just because somebody sitting there don't mean they hear his voice. People who hear his voice, they move. I thank y'all for the word. He said, for if Yahushua had given them rest, then would he not have afterwards spoken of another day? Therefore there remained therefore a rest to the people of Elohim. He that has entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works, as Elohim did from here. You're not going to enter into that garden. You're not going to get that shalom. You're going to die. If he ceased from his own works, that means he yard. You got the yard to get into Jerusalem. Y'all hear me? Well, you're going to have to die now. He said, let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after that same example of unbelief. So when you ain't willing to die, that means you don't believe. If you ain't willing to die in your flesh, that means you don't believe. Because if you believe, you would die. Hamashiach died because he believed that he would not suffer his set apart one to see corruption. If you believe that Yah wouldn't allow you to see corruption, then you would die, knowing you would become incorruptible. Knowing you will go from a living Nephi to a quickening Ruach, if you believe. And then you're supposed to be diligent in your labor. We know the book of Proverbs say, see a man diligent in his labor, he'll stand before king. That means you're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to work. You're going to have to get out there and do the work, man.
No.
But nobody wants to do the work. Huh? Don't nobody want to do the work, do it. Everybody want the success of salvation, but don't nobody want to do the work that's necessary. Nobody want to resist their flesh. Don't nobody want to give up nothing. Don't nobody want to not go to the places they ought not go. Or deal with the people they ought not deal. Or say the things that they ought not say. Or do the things that they ought not do. You know what I'm saying? Let's lip professing. Show with your mouth much love, but your heart is far from me. Where is your heart at? Come on over here to Revelation, man. You got to be able to go forward. That's what Paul said. Leaving those things that are behind, I press to the things that are ahead. That's what Lamar told tell you. Go forward. I ain't even going to deal with the staff because he told you your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You know what a shepherd do with a staff, right? What a shepherd do with a staff?
Yeah, keep the sheep in line.
He keep the sheep in line. Give him that correction. Whap you upside your head. How else you going to be able to overcome unless you be corrected, unless you be proud? I'm going to slap him upside his head. Maybe he'll get his mind right. Go where I need him to go.
Sit still.
And drop down Revelation chapter 2, verse 17. He said, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogues. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knows save he that received it. Say, nobody ain't gonna know this name. Ain't nobody gonna know this name. He also say he'll give you a white stone. Where we see a stone at, you know what a stone is, right? The rock. So that means that's that calf yet again. So in order for you to overcome, he say he'll write your name in a white stone. We've already talked about how he say the names of Yasharal were inscribed in pillars of stone that can't be moved. Let's look at the next one. Because I got to go ahead and speed this up so we get out of here. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 26. And he that overcome and keep my works unto the end. See, in order for you to overcome, you got to keep his works unto the end, right? And he say, to him will I give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. So you know what that is? See, this Psalms chapter 2, we're not going to go read it. That man said he's going to give you power over the people who oppressed you if you overcome. This is what you're going to get for overcoming now. You're going to get to be in New Jerusalem and chill with the Messiah, chill with Mashiach, and chill with Abba, chill with the Father. He's going to give you that hidden manna or that hidden bread. Because all this is talking about is what we didn't read in Psalm 51 and 6, which is he desired truth in the inward parts. That means if you overcome, he's going to give you the hidden manna. We didn't read it in John chapter 6 on Wednesday, but the hidden manna is the bread of life, which is going back to the new covenant. I'm going to put my Torah inside of you. I'm going to put eternal life inside of you because you chose obedience unto righteousness. You chose to follow after the ways of the Ruach versus the ways of Nephash, the ways of the flesh, the things that are carnal. I give you hidden manna. I give you a bread of life can't nobody see. Because you can't see the Ruach, but you can feel his essence when he's with you. He'll minister unto you. You know what I'm saying? So somebody asked me, he was like, well, what do you do when you don't really know what to pray for? And Romans chapter 8 says sometimes we don't know the things that we ought to pray for, but the Ruach minister on our behalf the things that can't even be uttered. Some of y'all don't even sit back and realize you don't even make prayer and supplication in the Ruach because you're seeking after things to consume them on your own lust and your own desire. That's why he don't give it to you. You ain't seeking the things that eternal. You want the things that make you feel good. You like Holly Berry and Monster Ball. Make me feel good. And make you feel good gonna lead you straight to hell. Why won't you feel good with the things that come from Shamahim? That's a happiness that surpasses all things. Well, come on with all that, man. Revelation chapter 3, verse 5. He that overcome, the same shall be clothed in white raiment. And I will not blot his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his Malachim. So now you're going to be clothed in white garments. We know that's the fine linen, the righteousness of the saints. And you know if your name ain't blotted out, we know what the Torah say in Shammut 32, Exodus 32. It's because you didn't sin against him. These are things Mashiach is telling you you're going to get to overcome. We ain't going through some of all this stuff to break it down. I actually want you to hear what the man say he going to give you. You got to be an overcomer. To overcome, you need to hear what the man going to give you. Let's drop on down about verse 12. He say, him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out. He say you won't go no more out. You know why you won't go no more out? Because this go back to the dollar. The door, the pathway into enter, right? Now I'm going to break this down. Let's go to John chapter 10 if you ain't going to go no more out. He said he gonna make you a pillar. You know what pillars do, right? They hold up the house. And that's what they do. I had been wanting to talk to y'all about the pillars that are named in the temple by Solomon for so long, almost forgot about it. I can't do it tonight though. You know, y'all be taking my mind in so many places. Y'all don't have no idea a lot of stuff I say I've been wanting to hit, boy, we ain't never got to, man. I'm talking about a lot. I can think about 4 or 5 things just think about the when Goldie died, boy, that I wanted, that me and him were talking about I was going to hit before he died. Like a month or so before he died. Like real talk, me and him on the phone talking about it. And ain't got nowhere close to it.
Get up.
10 and 7. He said, then said Yahushua unto them again, truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. You know why he would be the door of the sheep? Because we got the dollar in the Lamar, right? Because the sheep, the shepherd gonna lead the sheep into the door, into the sheepfold, right? He gonna goad them, he gonna prod them, he gonna use that staff, he gonna do whatever, he gonna teach them, he gonna do whatever he did. Because the preacher was wise, so he taught the people knowledge. And they were words that came from one shepherd, even the master of assemblies, because the words of the wise are as goads. The words of the wise motivate. See, when you a fool, my words ain't gonna motivate you, because you ain't gonna realize that they not my words. My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man do his will, he'll know if the doctrine is mine, or if whether I speak of myself, or whether I speak of him that sent me. You know what I'm saying? Now, Masha told you that. He said the words that I speak are not mine, but his that sent me. That's why he say if you learn of the Father, you'll come unto the Son. Our whole purpose of going through all this stuff is to get you in the door. Because I'm not the door. Ain't no man walking this earth the door. Yahushua HaMashiach is the door. Our whole goal and objective is to push you to go in the door. And a nigga don't want to go in the door. You got a big old wide open door. Say, come on in here and lay down and get you some rest. And you like this here, I want to stay outside in the rain. Just like this, I want to go outside in the rain. It might sound crazy. It sounds crazy, don't it? It sounds crazy, though, don't it? When you sit back and look at Bereshit, that's what happened. Them people who sat back ain't want to hear what Noah was talking about. They wanted to go outside in the rain. And what happened to them? They were destroyed. I'm just trying to tell you something, man. You take my words and do with them what you will. He said, then say Yahushua unto them again, truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. I am the dollar. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved. He shall go in and out and find pasture. You know why he told you you'll go no more out? Because you done returned back to your land. You dwelling in the house of Elohim. Why would you depart from that? Come on back to Revelation. Why would you depart from that? That's why I say a lot of stuff some of y'all do don't make no sense. Not according to the word. Revelation 3 and 12. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out. I will write upon him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamahim from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. Overcoming will allow you to dwell with the strength, the leader, and the first. See, I ain't got enough time. I'm about to ready to wrap this up because I got too much stuff in my head. I could go till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on this hill. Like real talk. Y'all will. I'll just continue on the morrow. You know what I'm saying? But I go all night with this hill. I got too much stuff in my head. Because I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the stuff we hit on were cool. But I had in my mind to actually show you Gideon, David, Samson, and Jephthah overcoming the world. You know what I'm saying? Because the people who they were going against are the children of the flesh. That's why he say, little children, you have overcome them. You know what I'm saying? Remember, we looked at that. Greater is he that's in the world. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world already, right? In 1 John chapter 4. We looked at that and lined it up with the law once already, right? And I was going to do that again. But I see that that's too much information at one time. You know what I'm saying? I thought I could do it. I was ready to. Y'all need to sit back and look at it. I was ready to. Y'all had no idea. Because boy, when I get to going through all this stuff here, it's going down. Because if I take Jephthah means he that opens. You have no idea what we can do with that going along with that, with this data. You know what I'm talking about? What this here? Samson means like the sun. Y'all have no idea what we can do with that there when you talking about overcoming. You know what I'm saying? Because I told y'all once already, After everybody's emergence, it's going down. Ain't no more game plan. You nigga can play. You gonna play your way to hell. I'm not finna play with you. You know what I'm saying? Like Glover said, I ain't never put nobody out. I'm gonna let you can let yourself out. You know what I'm saying? Now, it could be certain things that somebody will do or we'll tell them your services is no longer required in the community. But I ain't never told nobody to leave. You can let yourself out. You know what I'm saying? When you let yourself out, I'm gonna holler at you. You know what I'm saying? Because once I done satisfied it in my brain that I don't want nothing to do with somebody, I don't care what level it is. I don't want absolutely nothing to do with you in any shape, form, or fashion. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't care what it was. I'm talking about family members, wives, girlfriends, friends, you know what I'm talking about? Whatever. Once I done line that up in my head, I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I say, boy, I cut you off, boy, I cut you off, man, I'm straight. Ain't no coming back. I don't want to be your friend. If you need some help, you in a low spot. You know what I'm saying? I'll help you out. I won't mess with you no more. Because that's serious to me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you that bothered me, two people switching out, because I'm a fiercely loyal individual. You know what I'm saying? Fiercely loyal. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never switched out on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Or you switch out on me, boy, I forgive anybody. But for lack of a better term, that's unforgivable for me. Not to say that I won't forgive you or hold a grudge. I'll never forget that. Nigga betray me, I'll never forget that. You know what I'm saying? Ever. My respect for you goes down tremendously. You know what I'm talking about? I don't respect no betrayer, because that means you'll kill me. If you'll betray me, you'll kill me. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. I know that. I'm from Duval County. If you'll betray me, you'll kill me. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
You'll let a nigga ride on me. You'll let somebody take my life. Or you'll do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's heavy to me. I don't know how y'all look at it. I don't trust that. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust that. I don't care male or female. I don't trust that. I'm going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? 3 and 20 the last one. Or 3 and 21. To him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and sat down with my Abba in his throne. And you know why? And you know how Mashiach got all these things. And you know how he got them? Because he died. Because he died. I didn't get into overcoming like I wanted to. Somebody come cut this thing off. But we're going to start right here. It's 11, almost 11:30. All you got to do is close the thing to the side. But praise ye Yah for Yahushua HaMashiach. And praise y'all for the word.